It is 6 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, February 10th, 2025, the day after the Super Bowl. Good morning to all of y'all. Just doing your best to pull it together this morning. I appreciate the fact that that some of those advertisers, Bill, embrace the fact that Monday's a rough day for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Mondays kind of stink. I like there was one advertisement.
Coors Light one, yep.
Yeah, there was one advertisement. It didn't hit the salty. The
oh
one.
yeah, the Ritz one.
Yeah, the Ritz one where the woman's like, I am. If Monday was a person, I'm like,
the physical manifestation on Monday or something like that.
I love that.
That made me laugh too.
Yep, that was good.
Oh man, what a great game, especially for those of us that are Broncos fans.
Yes.
If you look at YouTube,
Rumble. We didn't even call each other nothing. And we both showed up in Broncos orange. This is fantastic.
I did find it was amusing to me yesterday that Blake, Kelly, I all texting back and forth throughout the game. And I think I've learned from you, Bill, that work phone goes away until Monday morning.
It does a lot. I mean, I come in a little bit, but I have to keep that separation. It's hard for me. I check in a couple of times, and I did check in a couple of times during the conversation, but I do. I have that separation. And there were times yesterday where my cell phone, that I've got two different phones, one that's a personal, one that's for work. And I took the personal one and put it on the counter and left it there and walked away. And I missed a couple of phone calls yesterday afternoon. Like, where were you? I'm like, I don't care. I put the cell phone down, put it somewhere else. And
the family gets Bill's full attention.
Yeah, it is
great.
Because I grind so hard so many other times. There are times in which I need to create the separation. So I'm not, when we're sitting on the couch or something, I'm not staring down at the screen. So I'm not, that I have to be present in the moment, because otherwise I have that tendency to, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? Yeah, I got that tendency. So I got to create that distance and separation so that it's not there personally. Yeah.
Well, it was a wild Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles crushing the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. For those of us that are Broncos fans, to see Patrick Mahomes struggle so much in the pocket.
That was
constant pressure, sacks, bad throws, interceptions, couldn't figure it out. Oh, it's glorious.
It's wonderful. It was seeing his little sad face on the sidelines again. It's totally personal. And yes, I know I'm being petty about
100%
it.
110%.
110%. I'm being completely and totally petty about it. I totally acknowledge this. This is the tiny little kid in me that is like, you lost. I'm Nelson from The Simpsons. But as a Broncos fan that has suffered so much with them being so good, it was nice to see. But as we talked with Blake on Friday, I thought Saquon Barkley was going to play a much larger role, but he didn't.
Right.
However, the Chiefs basically came in and said Saquon's not going to beat us, and the Eagles said, "Well, okay, then we'll do it this way."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we'll go way over your head.
Yeah, we'll do it a whole different way. Yeah.
All right. Well, coming up now, news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning, guys. 17 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 36 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. And as you were just mentioning, Super Bowl top story.
Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this.
And I'm sure millions turned their TV off early, even before Kendrick Lamar. The Eagles dominated the Chiefs, as Jeff and Billy just discussing, up front in the trenches. That's where you win football games in New Orleans, taking Super Bowl 59, 40-22, the final.
The overhaul for the Eagles, and so far looking good in the first half of this game. Here's Mahomes, pressure right away. Mahomes is sacked. Josh Sweat gets home.
Mahomes had a horrible day, and quarterback Jalen Hurts did not. He was the MVP, preventing Kansas City from winning a first-ever three-peat in the Super Bowl. And Cooper DeJean with one of the biggest plays of the night.
3rd and 16. Mahomes rolling out. Looking, firing, intercepted. Picked up by Cooper DeJean. Gets a block. DeJean is in. Touchdown.
So the Eagles are Super Bowl champions 2025, Super Bowl 59. By the way, that's Roman numeral LIX. So I think, I thought the best headline this morning should be the Chiefs took their licks, LIX, in 59. I don't know if anyone's used that.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
Thank you very much. But that defensive line was incredible from Philadelphia. Eagles did a great job, man.
I mean, it seemed like every snap. Patrick Mahomes had no time, no chance.
Pocket closed.
Yep.
Couldn't get out of the pocket.
Right.
And that's where, if he has space, then he's very dangerous. But I have to admit, I was going for the 3-peat because I love history stuff, witnessing stuff like that. But I didn't want Travis Kelce to do anything, and he did not. He dropped 2 passes. It was absolutely beautiful. That part was great, man.
And then the Donald Trump post about the singer Taylor Swift after the game. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. She was booed. They didn't give her a warm welcome.
Nope.
And I forgot what else he said. I just had that. But during the national anthem, the crowd roared when they showed DJT on the screen. That was pretty cool. I love that. And then not so much, though, when they showed Taylor Swift on the Jumbotron later. That was pretty funny. That was good stuff. And then, hey, before the game, guys, Trump flew over New Orleans and the Gulf of America and signed the declaration, making it official inside the jet.
Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well.
I thought that was pretty cool. With the desk in the jet and just a horrible game. You want to see a competitive game? You guys, your predictions, right on. You pick the Eagles. I pick the Chiefs.
Competitive game in most cases, yeah. When you've been burned this long by the Chiefs, that was perfectly acceptable.
Hey, I'm so old
Yeah,
like
I was
that.
happy with that too.
Yeah, I know you guys were. I'm so old. I remember when the Chiefs were horrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So Bronco fans are spoiled. Yeah, Bronco fans are spoiled. Once again, Minnesota, they've been there 4 times, haven't won. Buffalo, Broncos,
Lions,
have seen much success. Yeah, the Lions. I mean, my God, it goes on and on and on. Chargers.
And the Hunt family that owns the Chiefs, great people, very faithful. They sit on the board of major ministries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lamar Hunt. I was able to meet him in the 90s. He was obviously from Texas. The Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans, but he would go out to Kilgore, big oil country. And I had a long interview with Lamar Hunt in the 90s, man. And I learned so much. It was really cool talking to him. Yeah. But the Hunt family, I mean, there are a lot of stories in Dallas about the Hunt family, but well, as far as I know, they're on the up and up.
Yeah, the newest ones are, but I am not related to them. I get that question all the time. Am I related to the Hunts out of Texas?
Yeah, that's
am I related to Hunt Brothers Trucking?
You probably wouldn't be here at this. Yeah, you probably wouldn't be here at 6 a.m. if you were related to the Hunts. More than likely. You may be hanging out with Billy, but not me. Chinese tariffs on some American goods are in effect as of this morning as 47 continues to try to make it fair for all. China's retaliatory import taxes include 15% on coal and liquefied natural gas, along with a 10% tariff on oil, farm equipment, and large engine cars. As we saw in Denver last week, leaked government documents say that large-scale illegal immigration enforcement is coming to LA. Internal government documents that were reviewed by the LA Times report the ICE operation will begin before the end of February. No sweeping action has been taken in LA yet. All of the plane and military helicopter wreckage has been removed from the Potomac following the recent midair crash near D.C. on Saturday. The National Transportation Safety Board released a statement saying that all of the major pieces from both aircraft have been recovered and moved to a secure facility for further examination. The Colorado State Patrol says no one was hurt when a package containing an unknown substance was opened last week at the state capitol. The package was opened in State Representative Junie Joseph's office around 10 in the morning on Friday. Investigators interviewed the person who sent the package and tested the substance, determining that it was not a threat. Joseph's office was closed temporarily but reopened before the end of the day. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is temporarily shutting down live poultry markets after bird flu was detected in New York City. Here we go. Bill Gates and the freak Peter Hotez, we have our eyes on you. Police in Aurora say a report of a robbery in a city park was made by a 15-year-old boy. The teen told police that he was in Montview Park around 11:30 on Saturday night, and two men tried to rob him. He said he fought both of them off, but was wounded in the hand. The police department dismissed that report Sunday, saying that the teen had shot himself and there was no robbery. Police don't expect to make any further updates to the case. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills. Locally owned and operated since 1954. Online at lairfireplacepatio.com. 41 in Parker, 39 in check that. Actually, it is 15 in Parker, and it's 15 in Lakewood, and let's see, 17 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. It is Monday morning as we start the week after Super Bowl 59.
Four-man rush. Mahomes pressured again. Sacked again.
Oh, and Jeff and Billy love that. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Be ready for a colder week here in Denver. This will be especially true by tonight and into Tuesday and Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies early, clouding up later on, highs in the upper 30s. Mostly cloudy tonight, some light snow flurries and fog, lows down to near 10. Could see a dusting of snow. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, cold. Highs low to mid-20s, falling to the teens with light snow developing. Snow likely Tuesday night, accumulations likely, lows 5 to 10. Lingering light snow, continuing Wednesday, highs only teens. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
And the Eagles and all those halftime commercials, or just commercials throughout the game, not just halftime. It's early. It's Monday morning. I need my free Starbucks coffee. Apparently, there's free Starbucks coffee out there. If you waited to the very end, it was like at the end of the game, they let you know that you could get some free Starbucks coffee today. Phone number to give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. 720-819-5115. Speaking of Dan Caplis, I've known Dan for well over a decade. He's pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case is going to signal to everybody around you your type of values and what you are seeking to get out of this. Dan is about justice for those that have been wronged. He's the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years to helping people who have been hurt in a serious motor vehicle crash. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history, listen to this, to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. He's a real winner in the courtroom. Dan Caplis Law is so trusted that he's the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. You may be asking yourself, can I afford Dan Caplis? Well, Dan Caplis accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551. That's 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplis.law.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. All right, so one of the themes that I picked up yesterday, it just felt like America was back. You saw Donald Trump during the singing the national anthem, people cheering him. And then what hit me was they go to the Marines flying over in the helicopters, and the guy gives a thumbs up. It just, man, I just felt so optimistic with yesterday's Super Bowl game. Was there stuff I didn't agree with? Sure. A little bit of woke stuff here. We'll get into He Gets Us ads a little bit later. But overall, I felt very inspired. And one of those ads that got me feeling like America's back is the Secret Service ad. Listen to this. This is a Secret Service recruitment ad that ran yesterday.
America was founded on an idea of freedom. America's always stepped forward in time of need throughout our short but powerful history.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Tear down this wall.
We've been there for all of it.
The second plane hit the tower.
Our heroes are humble. They have an inner pride to keep this idea alive. Protectors are born, they're not made. America's Secret Service protecting this Super Bowl is asking a few more to step forward.
That was awesome. Man, that gets this red-blooded American all fired up, Bill. I felt like the patriotism was back, the celebration, the president's there. It was good. It was a good Super Bowl. Did you get the patriotic fervor yesterday?
This is what I got I got the idea of this being more or less a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those people that were happy that Donald Trump's the president seem to view this as a very patriotic Super Bowl, even though I don't think it was necessarily that different from what we had last year, per se. And people that weren't saw it as being overly, at times, partisan, overly patronizing. The idea that Trump was there, first president to be there at the game. I had the impression that based on your politics, that's how you viewed that one. In fact, even that advertisement, it sounds really, really good. But what I didn't get there is there's an image about 3/4 of the way, maybe closer to the end of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And it's the issue where he's standing up and he's doing the fight, and the blood is coming from his ear.
It focuses in briefly on
Yeah.
the new director of the Secret Service.
Yeah, but wasn't that a failure? I was told by the MAGA-verse when that happened that it was a total failure and incompetence of the Secret Service. Why would you put that in the ad? Why would you?
They also
put
had
that?
Lincoln and Kennedy in the ad.
Yeah. But that's, there's more stuff as far as history, protecting the president. But the issue being, though, that everything I had heard about that issue with the first assassination attempt was that it was a failure by the Secret Service. So why would you put that failure into your advertising and marketing message? That was something I just sat there and it was brief. It was like a second and a half, 2 seconds. Right. So it's brief, but I sat there and went, that's weird. That's a weird image when it was the people that are wanting and cheering this Secret Service ad are the same ones that criticized the Secret Service and said they put him in danger and that it was incompetence. So why would you put the incompetent moment into the advertisement for recruitment? I just thought that was weird. That's all it is. I was like, that's a weird juxtaposition of what our message is here versus how that image and how that event was portrayed. I just found it to be a strange message.
How about such an active president at the Super Bowl, Donald Trump doing the interview, showing up there live, all that was taking place around Trump versus Biden, at least in the last Super Bowl, was like nowhere to be found.
Yeah. For me, I don't like it, because why do we need to inject politics into this day? I don't understand.
You were happy that Biden wasn't a part of the Super Bowl stuff.
Yes, I was ecstatic that he didn't do this stupid pre-Super Bowl interview. Ecstatic. That is phenomenally stupid. And I don't care who you are, for which party. I think it's dumb. I don't care. The last thing, when I'm prepping for a Super Bowl, when I'm looking at this, this is escapism for me. This is the time in which you and I are neck deep all the time in politics and world events and stuff. I don't need it intruding into my escapism and my entertainment. And it's regardless of party. I think it's just, and again, I approve and applaud the idea about the patriotism surrounding America. That I like a lot. But the idea that we are using that to promote one particular party and or president, I hate it. I hate it. I really, really seriously dislike it because it intrudes. It has to be covered. It has to make an issue of it. And on a side note, you were talking about Trump and the thing with doing the thing about Taylor Swift.
T-Swift.
Yeah.
You want me to read it here?
No, how petty is that, though? I know what he said. I mean, what I look at is he is the leader of the free world. And he is so petty. He goes after a pop singer that he says he hates and is also said is irrelevant as far as, voters and everything else. So why does he care?
Because she got involved in politics.
No, barely.
Oh, barely.
Barely,
Not
yes.
Barely.
No, what did she do?
She has weighed into multiple Senate campaigns. And did she openly support Kamala Harris in this last race?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
But what was the message? What was her message?
Oh, it was some vague
no, it was I made this choice.
Research.
You make your choice.
You do your research. Yeah,
why is that bad? That she said this is my choice.
Supporting Donald Trump.
I know. See, that's the issue. Is she just chose the wrong person?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So we have to hate her because she chose the wrong candidate.
But you're gonna get some tweets like that from the opposing candidate.
What? Again, she chose a candidate and said, "Go out and choose your own." And he is so butthurt about it that he's now being petty at the tail end.
Hilarious.
I thought it was I think for me, it shows the petty and childish nature that is at the core of his person, that he can't possibly let that go. He can't be the bigger person. He is the president of the United States of America, and he has to point out the fact that they booed Taylor Swift. That's childish.
So here was the exact post. He put it on Truth Social. Donald Trump, the only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed, all caps, out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. She picked the wrong side.
No, it's because the Philadelphia Eagles. Have you seen them? That's what it was. She got booed because the Eagles fans. I don't think. Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs fans were booing her because Kansas City Chiefs fans were
But I
cheering
think
Donald Trump.
maybe America's booing her.
But no. The issue is in the stadium. I know that we want to make this into politics, and that's what Donald Trump is doing, and that's why it's petty and childish. But the issue being, do you think the Chiefs fans were booing her, or was that predominantly Eagles fans that were there? My guess is Eagles fans. And so I'm guessing it was Eagles fans. It wasn't the stadium or America making their opinions known about Taylor Swift. Not at all. It was because there are radio stations that are in Philadelphia that refused to play Taylor Swift songs for the last week. They were running promotional ads about that. They refused to play it. Yes, that's what happens. If it was the Broncos that playing against the Chiefs for whatever reason, they showed Taylor Swift, Broncos fans would boo Taylor Swift, even though probably a number of them would have shown up at her concert. That's just what you do.
The Democrats,
but he has to be petty about it. It's just
Democrats
so childish.
Have been weakening, destroying, dividing this country. What you saw yesterday was the return of MAGA. It was a strong president. It was about unity. It was about America, patriotism, self-sacrifice. It was everything that the Super Bowl should be, and it felt like America is back.
I get pictures of people flipping the president off during that time too. Some wearing Eagles jerseys, some wearing Chief jerseys. I have pictures of people in both color jerseys giving the finger to Donald Trump. So before we talk about it, again, this is based on, the reason that Taylor Swift was booed is because Eagles fans. The Eagles didn't like it because she's for the Chiefs. That's fair. That's fine. But Donald Trump has to make it into something else. Again, he's petty and childish. He's the leader of the free world. Be better. Be an adult. I mean, just for a weekend, how about be an adult? Try. Just a little bit.
She weighed into politics. She used her power to try to stop Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's going to fire off a few little posts on Truth Social.
She didn't use her power at all.
She didn't. Everything coming to her.
No. What coming to her? Doesn't matter. The Eagles booed her because she's a fan of the Chiefs. It's not politics.
No.
This is about who she's supporting.
She wanted to make America worse. And that's
exactly it. What she did is she said, I made a choice. You go out and make your own choice. That was making America worse.
She's weighed into a number of elections,
saying go ahead and make your own choice. Oh my God, I can't believe
she wanted Kamala Harris.
How horrible.
That would have absolutely have made America worse.
She actually encouraged people to go out and choose whatever candidate they wanted. Oh, the horror. Yeah, see, this is the thing that pulls back is the underlying issue with MAGA is if you don't choose what I think you should choose, then you're wrong. That's different. Right. She didn't say that. Taylor didn't say that, but that's what MAGA says. So before you sit there.
She's totally wrong.
Again, thank you for proving my point. Yes, thank you for proving my point.
And she's going to get some.
That the one thing that MAGA doesn't want is for people to go out there and to make their own choice. Don't make your own choice, people. Not at all.
Don't make the wrong choice.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Again, I appreciate you proving my point over and over.
All right. I want to hear from you all. Phone lines are open 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Some text messages coming in about the Black National Anthem. I think that was played before I didn't get to see it. That was before I got there.
It's before the national anthem.
But we shouldn't be playing multiple national anthems.
Why not? Why does it matter?
One national anthem.
But we did.
That's what they're texting.
But we had the one national anthem where we all stood up and honored for and everything else, and we had songs before that. One of them was a Black National Anthem. It was not presented, nor positioned, nor given the same reverence as the national anthem. Did they show up beforehand with a color guard? No. Did they show up beforehand and tell people to pause and stand? No, not at all. When they're presented differently, they're not the same. I understand that it gets you mad. I don't care if they do a hand jive beforehand. Don't care. That's all before the national anthem. Who cares? I don't understand why that matters to you. I seriously call in and tell me why. 303-696-1971.
Donald Trump should jail
matter?
Taylor Swift. One of the text messages coming in. Give us a call. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971. We're talking all things Super Bowl this morning. Trump, Taylor Swift, Secret Service, halftime show, the game itself, Kansas City, Vic Fangio and the Eagles, the commercials, the patriotism, even Brad Pitt saying our unity is our strength. Like 2-3 years ago, that was considered terrible and racist, and you couldn't do that. It was our diversity was our strength. Now Brad Pitt's telling us our unity is our strength. Have we come full circle? Is America back? Phone lines are open. Would love to hear from you. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Dollars in global funding and is now under intense scrutiny from DOJ audit.
At this hour, I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
The ex-chief of the USAID, Samantha Power, reportedly experienced a spike in her net worth during the time she served as the chief of USAID, the organization that oversees hundreds of billions of dollars in global funding, and is now under intense scrutiny from DOJ audits being conducted by Elon Musk and his team. According to Inside Biden's Basement and financial records, Power made $180,000 a year as Joe Biden's appointee. In those 3 years, her wealth jumped from $6.7 million to a whopping $30 million, leaving many on social media questioning how her net worth made such a significant jump in such a short amount of time. DOJ has uncovered what Musk calls fraudulent spending by the USAID, with President Donald Trump asserting that lawmakers choosing to send tens of billions of dollars to foreign countries for things like transgender programs or Sesame Street in Iraq are actually getting kickbacks at the expense of American taxpayers. Investigators across the U.S. have made a handful of arrests in recent weeks connected to heists involving some of the biggest names in sports. Authorities say groups of thieves linked to South American gangs have been stealing jewelry and cash from luxury homes. They've been targeting the likes of the NFL's Patrick Mahomes just this past week. Federal authorities charged a group of Chilean men with stealing nearly $300,000 worth of items from Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow.
In Dallas, Christina Owayo, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're covering all things Super Bowl. What do you think of the game? What do you think of the Taylor Swift Donald Trump feud? What do you think of the commercials? How about the halftime show?
Yeah.
Boy.
Love the text here that's like, the whole stadium booed Taylor. No. Pull your head out of your rear end. The Chiefs fans didn't boo Taylor. It was the Eagles fans. I mean, seriously, why can't we come with this objectively? Why do we have to use our politics to change the truth of what happened? It's okay. Yes, the stadium cheered Donald Trump. That's objectively true and fine. The people that booed Taylor Swift were Eagles fans. If you honestly believe that Chiefs fans went there and booed Taylor Swift, sure, right. Okay. Yeah, they're cheering.
Do you think that relationship continues?
Yeah. Taylor and
Travis Kelce. You think?
Yeah.
I do. Marriage on the horizon there.
I'm glad you asked. I'm getting a lot of stick from friends of mine in the music area because we did some predictions at the end of last year, and my prediction is that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will get engaged this year, but they'll never get married.
Really? You don't think with the potential money pot at the end of that rainbow?
It's just that part of this darker part inside of me that it seems that as soon as Taylor gets to the edge of happiness, everything falls apart. And so that's just kind of what I'm expecting. Again, I'm not going to make any judgments one way or the other because I don't know well enough, but I'm just looking at what has happened in the past and things. So I'm just wondering if past is prologue. So I don't know. And I'm not saying, and who knows? And there could be everything from if Travis retires, because we've seen strain on marriages once the football player retires because the football player got nothing to do.
Yeah.
And so what do you do? And the fact that you're always around. Yeah.
Like Gronk in every other commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the idea. But so that's the thing is I don't know. Again, but that's kind of the dark part of me that's like, yes, I want to celebrate this, but there's also going to be a darkness behind the sunshine and rainbows. And so it's just how I am.
Text message from Mr. Eric Manning here that he's a black man and not a fan of the Black National Anthem. Let's go to the phone lines. Okay. Mike Greeley. Good morning, Mike. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, gentlemen, my favorite show ever. I love the diversity. I love the banter. And I very rarely side with Billy, but I'm kind of on his side today. Couple things. I definitely believe it was the Eagles fans booing Taylor Swift. I am not a fan of Taylor Swift at all, but I don't think the Chiefs fan would boo their hero, Kelce, and his spouse to be. Yeah. Secondly, if I remember correctly, and I might be way off base here, I thought the entire entertainment show pre-Super Bowl was based on Black history and the history of New Orleans. So the fact that the Black National Anthem was there, it goes. So was I bothered by it? No, I hated that halftime show, though.
Yes, I am with you on that.
Really? You hated it?
Oh, my goodness. I didn't recognize a single song. I don't know how you do a Super Bowl halftime show that nobody over the age of 40 understood any of the songs that were played.
Well, I think people over the age of 40 did, just the wrong demographic. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely wrong demographic. And let me rephrase it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I'm 50, So, I mean, I turned the volume all the way up to see if I can catch the verbiage and the words, and it was just above me.
Dude, my son, Mike, at that point, my son was like, can we turn on captions? I can't understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think there was a problem. And if you go back and you watch it about halfway through, the mix is off. His microphone is dropped below what the audio is based on everything else going on in the stadium. And it made it very difficult to hear what Kendrick was saying. And to me, that's a crime. And I like what Jeff was saying about captions. They should have captioned the whole thing because it's not Kendrick's music that makes him a star. It's his lyrics. He is a phenomenal lyricist, and you missed everything he was saying. And I think it was a crime for him so that people couldn't understand the complexity of what he can deliver lyrically. But yeah, what did you think about, Samuel L. Jackson and the presentation of Uncle Sam and things being red, white, and blue? What did you think just visually about it, Mike? How'd that hit you?
Like I said, I'm neither here nor there. I respect the fact that it's Black History Month, so I understand what they were shooting for. That's what I thought. That hey, let's support Black history, African Americans, everything that they've gone through, and this is their time to shine. Good for you.
Yeah.
My favorite commercial.
Yeah, what's the commercial?
Snoop Brady. The bottom line is let's just get along, and why do we have to make a commercial to say it?
Oh, that's a good
Which one was it? I missed
the Snoop Dogg and the Tom Brady one, where they sat there and they're like, they make it for they call each other names. They're like, why do we have to make a commercial about this?
Yeah. Mike,
it's time. It's definitely time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mike, great call. Sure, appreciate it. Thanks so much for kicking us off today. That was awesome. Mike's line will be open 303-696-1971. Jason in Denver reminding us that Philly fans booed Santa Claus. That was right, Jason. Thank you so much for that reminder. Let's go to Don in Aurora. Good morning, Don. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
How's it going? I may be one of the very few people out there who just didn't see the game because, frankly, I just didn't care.
Is that out of protest? Is that out of protest to the NFL, or are you just not a football fan?
I used to be a football fan back in the day, but when they started taking the knee, I saw these millionaires taking the knee, and outside of the combined net worth of both sides of the aisle, excluding the luxury boxes, probably was more than the entire people watching the game.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
And that just really bothered me.
So what did you do on a Sunday night, on Super Bowl Sunday night?
I watched a lot of World War II documentaries. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know, Don, is do you feel that you have missed out on anything? And what I'm looking for are things like the FOMO, the fear of missing out. And because it is a cultural event, the things that people are talking about, seeing Patrick Mahomes lose here in Denver, talking about Donald Trump being cheered, Taylor Swift being booed, the halftime show, some of the commercials that were there, they become somewhat of cultural touch points. How do you feel by the fact that you've made the choice to just not be there? How do you react to that? And, going forward, friends and family and stuff talking about, oh my gosh, and I saw this and this and this. What's it make you feel like? I'm just curious about, your choices.
It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I watch these documentaries and I've been reading about the Second World War since I was in elementary school, and I actually learned some stuff that I didn't know. So to me,
not a bad use of the evening, Don. I sure appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
So coming up in just a second is going to be You Choose the News. You're not going to want to miss it. But phone lines are open. Join the conversation about the Super Bowl. What do you think about Trump? What do you think about the patriotism? What do you think about the halftime show, the commercials, the game itself, Mahomes watching that pocket collapse over and over and over again? It was so glorious. It was amazing. Would love to hear from you. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971. Billy, I got to take a moment of personal privilege because he's in the car heading to school right now. Ladies and gentlemen, happy 13th birthday to my son, Danny Boy. He's a great kid.
That's fantastic.
He's the one with the long hair. He's a wild man. He's great in school, loves people, is always on the go. He's just a fantastic boy. I love him.
Even recently at a school dance, asked a girl to dance with him.
At 7th grade.
That is
no
fantastic.
Fear. You got to love it.
That is wonderful. Nicely done, Danny. Happy birthday.
Danny Boy, very happy birthday. Love you, buddy. All right, we'll continue. We got You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader and the place where we celebrate Danny's birthday. We're in News Talk 710 KNUS. Happy birthday, Danny.
At this hour, I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. The USAID has been in the spotlight recently as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, has been auditing the organization to figure out what American taxpayer dollars are being spent on and how his department can cut the waste, fraud, and overspending from the budget. Some of the payments he found are more than questionable, such as That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Weil, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to a very special Super Bowl edition of the Jeff and Bill Show. We're going to get to your phone calls and text messages in a second, but time for a little post-Super Bowl. You choose the news.
Yes, it's that time of the morning where we get to make questionable decisions, something we call America's favorite fake radio news game show. This is You Choose the News. I spent mere moments this morning finding really dumb stories about us humans to give them even more ridiculous headlines so that we can play this fake radio news game show. Why? Because we are left unsupervised this early in the morning. Nobody that has any power or regulation control is awake for about another 9 minutes. So we're going to take full advantage of this time with you. Remember, though, shh, this is a secret. Do not tell the people in charge or this whole thing goes boom. So we're depending on you to share with us. All righty, here we go. Jeff Hunt in the studio. Blake Olson joining us from the newsroom. Your choices this morning are headline number 1, the opposite of a gold star. Headline number 2, DEI. The D stands for drugs. Headline number 3, literal crime ring. And headline number 4, a king and his castle. All righty.
Go with
yes.
the DEI.
Yes, DEI. The D stands for drugs. Yes, Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, is saying that we need to have more diversity, equity, and inclusion in our drugs. He's basically saying, come on, get with the cocaine party. Cocaine, he said recently, is, quote, no worse than whiskey. He said Colombia, the world's biggest cocaine producer and exporter, is only being kept from all of the glorious riches they could have because cocaine is made in Latin America. It's all you darn racists. If you just weren't so racist, you'd love the cocaine and do more than nose candy. I'm sure nothing would go wrong. He literally in the statement said scientists have analyzed cocaine. They say it's no worse than whiskey. That's odd, considering a guy who cocaine production jumped to a record high in 2023, up 53% year over year. So exporting seems to be good. It seems like he's just trying to market the product. I'm just saying. It's, I may be judging, but I still love the idea. Cocaine's no worse than whiskey.
Yeah, cocaine vending machines, all that stuff.
Yes, I know. It's
Wow.
I know people that have had drinking problems with whiskey, but I've never known someone to go, "Wow, I drank enough whiskey that I could have bought a boat." That's happened with cocaine. So, yes. Okay. Alrighty.
Good point.
Yes. Blake Olson in the news department. Your choices, sir. The opposite of a gold star, literal crime ring, or king of his castle.
Literal
crime ring. Here we are traveling to Idaho for this one. Dylan Rockwell, 32, admitted to police that, yes, he is part of a crime ring. But it's not like one of those big, huge criminal organizations. It's the ring he has on his hand. Inside the ring on his hand, he has hidden a barcode for tomato soup, and he was using it to steal high-value items from a Walmart in Caldwell, a suburb of Boise, recently. Rockwell got a little bit of notice from the in-store security when he was ringing up things at the self-checkout item, and a grill valued at $300 rung up as a can of tomato soup. That's weird. Don't know how that happened. So yes, he was chased down by the police and had to admit that he had hidden a barcode for tomato soup in the ring he wears on his finger. So he just runs his hand over the scanner and goes boop, 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 and everything is tomato soup. Yeah, I know.
Everything is tomato soup.
Yes, exactly. I hate tomato soup. It's a personal thing.
Do you?
Oh, I hate it.
Dude,
So
grilled
gross.
cheese
Oh,
and tomato soup is so choice.
When I was a young Billy and in school, I hated tomato soup so much that when it was served at school lunch, I refused to eat. So they had to make something different for me because I would not eat it. Nope, not at all. Not eating it.
High maintenance.
Yeah. Didn't care. I did not care. I'm like, I will go hungry. You cannot make me eat that slop. Okay, that's the personal thing. But it explains a lot about me. All righty. Final choice this morning, gentlemen. The opposite of a gold star or a king in his castle.
King in his castle, please.
Yes, a king in his castle. This is a cool one. A frantic search for a missing Oklahoma teen came to a baffling end recently when he revealed that he had been king of his castle. What's the story? Christopher Dunham, 16, was recently reported missing by his grandparents. He disappeared from their home. Grandma and Grandpa asked for the public's assistance and police. They were looking around, and they couldn't find him for several days. Finally, the police were getting upset with Grandma and Grandpa, figuring they were hiding something, and they pulled a search warrant for the house. At that point, Christopher arrived back home. And he said, no, officers. My grandparents have nothing to do with my disappearance. I was basically just being king. What he had done is he had gone to the local Walmart. Yet again, we're returning to the scene of the crime, the Walmart. And he had made a toilet paper fort inside the Walmart and been sleeping there for about 3 days. He took a dog bed out of the pet area and put it in there, and then took toilet paper and built his own little fort. So nobody in Walmart knew for days. I'm just saying this is a possibility,
cool.
People. Yeah. So again,
good idea.
I know he's kind of my hero. Alrighty, that's it. That's
all
the
the candy bars.
I know. It's
amazing. Impressive.
So jealous.
All right.
Back to you, sir.
We'll continue with our post Super Bowl coverage. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is News Talk 710. We are KNUS.
It is 7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, February 10th, 2025. It is the morning after the Super Bowl, and you've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Phone lines are open. Tell us what you thought of Trump versus Swift, the halftime show, the game itself, the commercials, the patriotism. Does it feel like America's back? Sure does to me. We'd love to hear from you. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Bill, I thought this one was one of the funnier ads, and I always love it when my kids can laugh. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And the Lilo and Stitch one was hilarious. Here,
oh my gosh, great.
Sorry, folks.
Watch out for the goal.
That was when the whole family can laugh at an ad. It's a winner in my book.
It is a winner. I love that one because I've got one of my kids that is a huge Lilo and Stitch fan. I mean, just over the moon. This particular child does have a full body Stitch onesie pajamas that with the head and everything. I mean, so
great.
Huge Stitch fan. And the fun part was, as soon as the commercial started, the kid goes, "That's Stitch." I mean, immediately within like seconds, like, no. And they sat there because that's how into it he is. So it was really cool to see. And it was one of those that the entire family, they just giggled and laughed along with. That was clever. That was
I would
fun.
love somebody to please explain the flesh cowboy hat ad.
That was weird.
I have no idea what that one was.
Was a little creepy.
It was super creepy.
Yeah. Okay. Now, 7:00. Okay, we can do this one this early. We can still ask for. I'll have to ask for forgiveness later. But my lovely and talented wife, when she sat there and she's watching that, she's like, "Who's giving birth to that?" And I was like, "That's a level of pain and uncomfortableness that I didn't consider when I'm first watching that. I didn't think about that." But I'm like, "You got a really good point, my dear. How does that possibly
flesh colored anything? It ain't that attractive.
It's weird. That was a weird one. That was one that I'm like, oh yeah. What was the focus group for this one like? I don't know.
Right. And a lot of money and multiple versions of
multiple.
it. So
and I'm like, it didn't
$20 million probably,
and it didn't get better
No.
as they furthered the story.
And I still don't get it. I don't know it. Someone, please.
Yeah, and I have no desire to go to Tubi and watch anything to deal with that. You didn't hook me. Nothing. I'm like, this isn't interesting at all. I have no interest in watching this.
So phone lines open. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Now, time for Blake Olson News and Comment.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
17 and partly cloudy in Denver. Thank you, Jeff and Billy. Expecting a high of 36 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this.
Yes, gladly. I'm sure millions turned off the tube before Kendrick Lamar even took the stage, but the Eagles dominated the Chiefs up front in New Orleans, winning Super Bowl 59, 40-22, the final.
Four-man rush. Mahomes pressured again. Sacked again.
Quarterback Jalen Hurts was the MVP, and obviously Patrick Mahomes had a rough night. Hurts was 17-22, 222 yards, couple touchdowns, an interception, and he actually rushed for more yards than any quarterback in Super Bowl history, 72 yards. And he held the record from a couple of years ago, 70 yards. So congratulations to him. Preventing Kansas City from winning their first ever three-peat in the Super Bowl, a first ever three-peat in the Super Bowl. And rookie Cooper DeJean was one of the guys who had one of the biggest plays of the night.
3rd and 16. Mahomes rolling out. looking, firing, intercepted, picked up by Cooper DeJean, gets a block. DeJean is in, touchdown.
And things kind of unraveled for the Chiefs after that. Now, during the national anthem, the corporate crowd roared. And I kind of agree with Billy a little bit on this, but it's a corporate crowd, and they roared when they showed DJT on the big screen. Yes, there were some DBs flipping him off, whatever. Majority of Americans love him. And then not so much when they showed Taylor Swift on the Jumbotron to the, once again, the corporate crowd at the Super Bowl. There were a lot of Eagles fans, though, there, and they contributed. Before the game, Trump flew over New Orleans and the Gulf of America and signed the declaration, making it official inside the jet.
Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well. That's a good
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You know, the greatest observation by my younger brother last night and my sons, the GOAT, Tom Brady, wasn't even wearing a belt for the Super Bowl. No belt with his suit.
That's hilarious. That's what happens when you don't have a wife.
Yeah, that's exactly what my wife said. Giselle, she went in life without Giselle. Would have made sure he wore a belt.
Now, I was skeptical. I actually think he did a really good job.
Oh, I thought he was awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
I thought
he can almost say whatever he wants because he's the greatest.
He provided good insight. You know, this is how I fell down in a Super Bowl. This is how we came back. Hey, look, I've lost 3 Super Bowls. I know. Like, I thought it was fantastic perspective.
Someone explained to him what his job was, which was fantastic. Because
imagine that.
I get so upset when I'm watching some of these games because play-by-play guy is the what, and then the color guy is the how and why, especially the why. And if you are a color guy and you're not telling me why, just turn the mic off. I literally don't need to hear you. Just turn it off.
I agree.
And he did a wonderful job of talking about the why. And when the game got, for that, moment about a quarter and a half when it was legitimately out of control, when it was, over 30 points, he did a good job of sharing stories about, in the Super Bowl, I did this. This is what you're watching for. And that's something you need, and you need to pull that from baseball. Baseball's got to fill a lot of dead time. I was surprised he was able to fill as much dead time as he did. He has come a long way. I don't know who's coaching him behind the scenes, but I was really impressed with what he brought to the broadcast. And I have been a severe critic earlier on in his broadcasting career because he didn't do this. He didn't tell us the why.
So the first few times he did it, he wasn't doing that?
No, first couple of times he didn't. It was he more played into what he thinks someone that is a color commentator should say. He went to a lot of bromides, a lot of the same, someone here has got to win. It's all about desire. Things like that. And you're like, no. Tell me why this happened. You see this game in a way that none of the rest of us really do. So tell me why. And when he started doing that, then he transcended.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, they probably said, look, I mean, what happens is you take it for granted, just like everyone does with whatever job they're doing. Sometimes they probably think, well, everyone already knows that. They see what I'm doing, but we don't. And fans don't. So they probably got with him and said, hey, look, you got to be specific and tell us stuff that you think we already know, but we don't.
Yeah, stuff that you see there, on the field.
Absolutely.
Jason in Denver is on fire on the text messages this morning. Tom was wearing an $800,000 watch. He doesn't need a belt.
Amen. Amen.
And then he brought
How does he
up-
know it's
That's a good point.
$800,000?
And then he brings up, he
Jeez,
goes,
man.
Bill, this was hilarious.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick will marry a 23-year-old before Taylor and Kelsey get married.
That's funny. That's really funny. Nicely
That's
done,
great.
Jason. Nicely
No,
done.
that's great. I'm all for it, man. If you can wear a suit without a belt, I'm all about that, man. You know, you remember Sansa belts? I'm sure a lot of people remember those, man. Can't we just get
You
back
say
to wearing those?
Santa belts?
No, Sansa belts. I think they're called Santa. Look them up. All coaches used to wear them. They didn't have a belt, and they were the ugliest pants or the funniest looking pants.
That was
But
awful.
coaches used to wear them all the time. They had elastic up around the waist, and you know you didn't wear a belt with them.
It's also like there's an era when Blake and I were growing up where it seemed as if all PE teachers were handed the same bike shorts, just in different color. But it was some sort of uniform they all had to wear. It was like part of the job. I don't know.
Oh man, if you go back to those 70s and 80s coaches photos, my dad used to wear all the coaches used to wear these coaching pants that were plaid. And they were Sansa belts, and there was not a belt with them. It's like what you'd see at a golf course. I actually thought they were pretty cool, you know. But oh man, I love it.
So Jeff, we know what to get Blake for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll support those. Check them out, man. You got it. They're the best.
Yeah, you can buy them on eBay. They're listed under vintage 60s and 70s pants.
Man, when the Broncos used to go on the road, John Ralston used to wear these bright orange Sansa belts, all the coaches. I mean, just ridiculous, but they were so cool. They were awesome. All right, the Aurora City Council will be meeting virtually again today as it discusses new rules regarding public comments. The council met virtually on January 27th and had trouble keeping the meeting on track due to comments from protesters. I wonder who was leading that one. I won't say his name. One proposed one proposed solution is having a comment period 40 minutes before the regular council meeting with a time limit of 2 minutes for each speaker. Residents of Aurora would be moved to the front of the line during each comment period. The proposal is scheduled for a vote during today's meeting. RTD is warning riders of potential delays due to rail maintenance. Rail grinding maintenance will begin on H&R lines between the Florida and Southmore stations tomorrow. Chinese tariffs on some American goods are in effect as of this morning as DJT continues to try to make it fair for all. China's retaliatory import taxes include 15% on coal and liquefied natural gas, along with the 10% tariff on oil, farm equipment, and large engine cars. DJT says he'll announce a new 25% steel and aluminum import tariff today. All right, New York Governor Kathy Hochul is temporarily shutting down live poultry markets after bird flu was detected in New York City. That's not a good thing. Let's go find those.
Have you seen how they kill those massive groups of chickens? Because these are big industrial operations, right?
Yes.
So you're not gonna go one by one,
sure,
and just wring a chicken's neck or something.
Mm-hmm.
They have this foam. And they spread the foam all over the chickens. And then I don't know if there's either some chemical in it that kills them or they just suffocate from the foam.
Man.
But they basically cover the entire operation with foam. And then all the chickens die.
Oh, wow. Hey, wait, how many chickens did we kill during the Biden administration? Was it like a billion or something like that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I heard that last week. I forgot to check it.
It's a lot. I don't know the total number, but it is a lot, and it's because of bird flu. And we're really the only ones that are kind of dealing with it right now. You go down and you see, you look on social media.
50 million birds.
Yeah. Dang. You go and you look at places, certain areas of Mexico. You go to even Canada. You go elsewhere into Europe, even Asia. All their egg prices are normal. mean, you can go down into Mexico and buy eggs for about $2 a dozen at this point, but they're not dealing with the bird flu, and so it's supply and demand. So you're losing a whole bunch of supply. You're killing a whole bunch of chickens, so we just don't have them at this point. And part of the reason being that we also wash our eggs and care for them differently than in other nations, so we can't necessarily import them from Mexico because they're done differently. So we would have to process them.
It is interesting. So we sell our little eggs mostly to like Germans and Europeans.
Really?
Because
they trust them.
Well, and they also, so once you wash an egg, you have to refrigerate it. If you don't wash the egg, it can stay out on your countertop for a week or two. And Europeans really like their eggs that way. They want the eggs on the countertop, warm, not washed, all that stuff. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, that is.
So what they spray, I was just looking this up, they spray firefighting foam and it asphyxiates all the chickens.
Wow. Oh, it has multiple purposes. All right. 13 in Castle Rock, 15 in Arvada, 17 in Denver. Happy birthday, Danny. If you're still listening, Jeff and Billy continue.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Be ready for a colder week here in Denver. This will be especially true by tonight and into Tuesday and Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies early, clouding up later on, highs in the upper 30s. Mostly cloudy tonight, some light snow flurries and fog, lows down to near 10. Could see a dusting of snow. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, cold. Highs low to mid-20s, falling to the teens with light snow developing. Snow likely Tuesday night, accumulations likely, lows 5 to 10. Lingering light snow, continuing Wednesday, highs only teens. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. This hour, we're covering all things Super Bowl. What do you think of Trump, Taylor Swift, the game itself, the patriotism, the commercials, the halftime show? So this was my wife's favorite commercial yesterday. It was a good one from Google.
At my last job. I can depend on them.
Wholesome family side of that.
That was cute. That was a really nice one. That was very emotional.
That was a dad who's applying for a job after I think he was primarily kind of a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, that's what it kind of said.
And is transitioning into the workforce now that his daughter's gone off into college. And he's like a lot of people, like my wife took 10 years out of the career field to raise our kids. Now you're trying to transition back into it. And you have to explain what skills you have and explain why there's a 10-year gap in your career and all that stuff. And I thought it emphasized strong, healthy, committed families, the role of moms and dads, and then prioritizing your kids, and then, how demanding it is to be a parent as well.
The other thing that one of my kids and accurately pointed out, in the real world, dude's not being hired by Google. There's no way. Because he would have
hired by Google?
Yeah, there's no way. Hired by anybody. The idea of the idea being that resume gap and the idea of saying, "Oh, I had collaboration because I was doing this with my kids." That's not what they're looking for. The whole idea is, and that's when my kids like, he's just lying. And again, it's part of my kids being so so cynical. It's my fault. But that's one of them's like, he's just lying. Yeah.
Have you seen that there is that one commercial out there too where they're hiring people and they're going, okay, this job you're going to have is 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you're going to work 7 days a week.
Yeah,
And it's going to be even more demanding over the holidays. Your clients, you have to be ready to serve your clients at a moment's notice and all that stuff. I want to see our culture be more acceptable, more accepting of those that have taken the gap, right? That have spent 10 years at home with kids, or maybe not fully away from the workforce, but work part-time and now are ready to transition back in. I wish corporations, companies would take that.
Yeah, they won't, because in part, it's an advantage to not pay that person that much money. And so that's the idea, is they're just going to punish them for that. And again, as my dad always said, a job gets a job. That's showing that you're employed and working already makes you more attractive psychologically to the next employer. And having a gap in which you didn't work psychologically, and it's not fair, nor is it accurate, but it gives the impression of laziness or not wanting to work or not having the motivation or whatever you want to ascribe to it. And unfortunately, that's based on the psychology and inferences of the individual doing the hiring, all based on their own personal preferences. So that's how they're interpreted, and it's going to be difficult. I wish we would get more accepting of it, but I have a hard time thinking that's going to happen in our lifetimes.
Text messages coming in about the Super Bowl. Kathy and Aurora haven't watched the Super Bowl since the kneeling started in 2016.
Why not? I mean, they took the end racism thing off the goalposts. They're not doing the kneeling thing. Why won't you come back? I'm curious about that. The people that are like, I'm mad because they're doing this thing, and they're not doing the thing anymore. And now you're like, still mad. Why wouldn't you come back?
And Bill and I had talked about this previously, but again, I felt it was a shift in patriotism and honoring and celebrating America. The president was there. People were cheering him on, all that stuff. So do you think there is a shift? Do you think America's back? Join the conversation. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's go to Jim Sterling. Good morning, Jim. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Good morning, you guys, and thanks for a good show again. Since the 1985 Bears, when I had the fridge and McMahon, or when we had them guys in 1985, I'm a Coloradoan, but back in them days, and then we had the three amigos with Broncos. Now I don't remember their names.
It was Mark Jackson, Ricky Nattil, and Vance Joseph were the three amigos with the Denver Broncos. And you're talking about the 1985, the Super Bowl champion Bears. The Bears. Yeah, with McMahon and everybody else. Yep. Yeah, the Super Bowl
and
shuffle.
Now if you want to get into politics, now we got four amigos. We got Trump, Musk, Jim Jordan, and Mark Levin.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not bad. So did you watch the game last night, Jim?
No, I was working.
You're a farmer.
I haven't got. It's just not been the same as it used to be back in the days. You know, when we had Elway and stuff like that, it was. I don't know. There was more of a game, and now it's more. I don't know. Help me out with the terminology I'm looking for here. It just doesn't seem to be. In the last 4 years, I just haven't really paid attention.
Well, it's incredibly highly produced. I mean, every second is produced to the very best. At one point, I was walking in and out where I was trying to get work done before the show started because I knew I was going to have to talk about every aspect of the game. So I was going to watch all of it. But it felt like Rob Gronkowski was in every single commercial. I'd walk back in. Oh, it's another Rob Gronkowski commercial. Go back, do some work, walk back in. Oh, Gronk is back up. It's like it's become so like they've settled on such a formula, and it just pervades every aspect of it.
It's he and Matthew McConaughey every commercial.
I agree, but they got to make a show out of it, and I understand the logistics of that. From the commercials to the everything, you know.
Now, Jim, I want to know: do you feel like you're missing out on anything when people today, are in your social circle in the next 24, 48 hours are talking about commercials, talking about the halftime show, talking about the game? Do you feel like personally you've missed out on anything because you can't necessarily participate?
Not.
No, okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, absolutely not. Because everybody that I hang around, I mean, all the 100 people that I know, they just. It's not the same realm as it used to be back in the day. You know, it's just kind of when we had Elway, we had stuff like that. We had a lot more to, you know, I mean.
Do you think it was just grittier? Do you think it was?
It's more become more politicized almost. Not politicized, but help me out with the terminology that I'm looking for.
Yeah,
it's become more of a.
Jim, is it more because it's more like Disney? It's been Disney-fied. Everything is,
there you go.
Kind of produced and, you know, animated, whereas like what you're talking about is just grittier, you know, in the 70s and 80s, and the halftime show was Up With People and, you know, and the marching band and all that.
Thank you. Yeah, you're exactly right. You know, you sum that one up nicely. It's not the same entertainment that we used to get from the football game. It's not the same.
There's a post here, the halftime show that everybody wants, Weird Al Yankovic.
Ooh. I would love to see Weird Al. That could be a lot of fun.
Now here's a text message. Bill, I want to get your response to this. And Jim, you can stick around too. The halftime show was totally racist. All the performers were black.
We can't go that way because we're not racist people.
Why would that be racist?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The text message from 6135. Are they flipping if it was all a whole bunch of white people, would we be saying it was a racist?
We're all Americans, for God's sakes. Let your racism go.
Yeah. I do think there would be some people out there that are very, very liberal, that if it was only white people, they probably would make that statement. That would be, if that is the purpose of the text message, then yeah, it's a fair critique.
So Bill, I got to tap into your music expertise here.
Jim, thank you for the call, man.
Jim,
Appreciate
great call. I got to get into your music expertise.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there watching it going, I don't
Kendrick.
know. I don't know any of these songs.
Yeah.
Hardly have ever heard of this guy. I'm longing back for the Travis Tritt 90s countries days, but help me understand why Kendrick Lamar was chosen, and from your perspective as a music aficionado, how he performed.
Okay, first of all, that was amazing. His halftime show, if you understand Kendrick and if you understand his music and his catalog, that was amazing. There were a lot of things that he did that were really spectacular. The other thing that I appreciated is he decided to do it mostly solo. And for me, that takes a lot of, and I'm going to clean this up for our audience this morning, takes a lot of testicular fortitude in order to say, I'm going to be the person. We've had this kind of montage last couple of times. I believe during the hip hop anniversary one, Kendrick was up on stage, but only for a little bit of time. And that was a lot of hip hop artists that came up to celebrate, 50th anniversary type of things. And that was a number of years ago. But this was one where he was like, no, I'm the focus and I'm going to do what I do. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the music behind Kendrick, but I'm a huge fan of his lyrics. I think, not saying that I'm agreeing with him, but I appreciate the lyricist and the skill that it takes, the way that he crafts the messages. A lot of that stuff was from his recent album, GZA. So you had a lot of stuff. I loved Squabble Up that was there, Peekaboo that was there, DNA was there. It was fantastic. They brought on SZA to do her bit from Luther. That was really cool.
I had no idea who that was.
Yeah, that's SZA. Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, I used to be kind of into rap and hip hop, but it was like the Biggie Smalls, Tupac days. And when they did the throwback years ago, with Snoop and all that, I love that. Yesterday, I was just like, what am I listening to?
It was really neat. The fact they brought her up for Luther. There was a really big dig at Drake. And that was kind of the thing that if you understood what was going on, that was the thing that was the most fun. I did like Samuel L. Jackson. And again, you have to understand the performance that's going on there, is Samuel L. Jackson was really America's conscience. Samuel L. Jackson was coming on there and saying, no, hold on, son. You can't be doing this kind of stuff. Tighten it up. And so he was that, I don't understand what you're doing. That's the first break there, is Samuel L. Jackson giving voice to, there are a lot of people that have no idea what you were just doing. Let's tighten it up. Let's do something else. And that's kind of where the show went. It was a really nice nod and a very nice moment of being self-aware by Kendrick, by putting Samuel L. Jackson in that role because of what he did during the music.
Where's the country halftime shows. They haven't had a country halftime show in a long time.
I'd have to go back and look. There are a couple, but I have to go back and look. Then again, though, the pop and the R&B era are fairly dominant as far as unit sales and everything else. So that's part of it. Also, I don't think you can necessarily take the country artists and bring them into New Orleans. It might also be venue. That when you're in New Orleans, bringing in Morgan Wallen and Travis Tritt may not be
Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, may not be the best look based on where they are. So that's, I think, the other part. The thing that was really cool. So it's Not Like Us. That was the song. That's the song. And if people aren't aware of this, I'll try to break this down really quickly. There's a feud going on between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. And, well, not anymore. Kendrick just buried it. It's done. Drake did kind of a diss song in some of his lyrics towards Kendrick. Kendrick came back and did a song, Not Like Us, and has some really pointed lyrics towards Drake inside the song. That's what everybody was waiting for. And that song, that is the diss track against Drake, went to number 1 and then won 5 Grammys. 5 Grammys. So think if you're Drake, the song that Kendrick took aim at you with wins 5 Grammys. Then Kendrick goes to the Super Bowl and performs that song and teases it not once, but twice in his performance. And then when he does it, it's not, and the line that is the biggest line in there that is taking aim at Drake, Kendrick doesn't finish it. The crowd does. That's next level trolling. That is unreal, where Kendrick paused and the crowd knew it enough to overwhelmingly finish the diss against Drake. I was like, oh, that's gotta hurt if you're a Drake fan. That was a really tough one. And I love early on in the performance, he talks about they played the opening bars from Not Like Us. And he goes, nah, not right now. He goes, because they like to sue. And he goes into another song. I'm like, oh, because Drake is suing Kendrick and his music rep for defamation because of the song.
You got it. That's
dude. Yeah, I know. If you knew, you knew.
Just there has not been a country music singer in a halftime show since Shania Twain and No Doubt in 2003. It's been 22 years.
Yeah. Wow.
They haven't put country out there.
Yeah, that's okay. Again, it's the other part was that Serena Williams being out there. Ouch.
Oh.
That was huge because it's after the Drake diss line and she's up there. 2 things. First, she's dressed in blue. If you know, you know, based on West Coast, what this is doing, what Kendrick is doing, and how she performs on stage. Again, if you know, you understand the message she was saying, but more importantly, she used to date Drake. So the fact that she is that Kendrick in the song where he's dissing Drake brings the X up on stage and has her dancing to his diss track. I mean, the layers of burn that Kendrick laid on top of Drake were absolutely phenomenal. It was really good, but you had to understand what he's doing.
Someone posted yesterday the halftime show would have been more entertaining to just watch Donald Trump sign executive orders.
Yeah, I saw that. And that would have been boring. That would have been just and again, you had to understand what Kendrick was doing. You had to understand his music. You had to understand the genre. And I talked about it last week on Friday. I said that this is a strange choice because Kendrick doesn't have a catalog that is widely known. There aren't enough people inside that demographic that are casual listeners to understand and listen and connect to what he's doing, because you don't have enough of the songs that have played enough on the radio for you to go, oh, he's the person that does that. His albums are an R&B rap genre. If you're not listening to those music stations, if you're not streaming that, you're going to miss out on his stuff. So you didn't understand what he was doing. But visually, what he did on stage, if you know, you know. And again, Serena Williams, dude, that was rough.
Bring back Left Shark. All right. Billy, why don't you tell us about our friends over at Colorado Wound Care?
We have got a brand new advertiser. We talked with Jennifer a couple of weeks ago here on the show. And here's the deal. This is Wound Care Associates of Colorado. And they are changing the game here in Denver with how they are approaching a problem. The problem being chronic wounds, that slow healing cut, those diabetic ulcers, those pressure sores. Ignoring them doesn't fix the problem. But there are a lot of wound care treatment facilities out there that just want to maintain it. That's not fixing it. If you broke your arm today, you wouldn't walk into the doctor and he's like, well, let's just hope it doesn't get any worse. How about we fix it, doc? If they came in and like, oh man, let's hope that finger doesn't get more dislocated. What? Hold on here. That's not really what we're doing here. I thought we had to take care of this. That's why Jennifer started Wound Care Associates of Colorado. She had a tragedy in her own life. Her uncle, who had diabetes and neuropathy, some other issues, got a small cut on one of his toes. Small cut. Given everything else Uncle was dealing with, not that big of a deal. He ignored it like most of us would. It didn't get better and didn't get better, and then started to get a little red and it hurt. So he decided, let's go get this thing treated. He went into a medical facility. They took a look at it and went, oh, this is infected. They started doing some treatment. That didn't work. And eventually it led to an amputation of part of his foot. But it didn't end there. Because the infection had gone on so long, it had gotten into his blood system, his organs, and his bones. He passed away 3 days later from a simple cut on his toe. I mean, that torn skin, that torn flesh, the torn tissue, that is the perfect place for dirt, germs, and bacteria to get access to your body. That's why you need to talk to Wound Care Associates of Colorado, because they want to fix the problem, not just maintain that chronic wound. But there's something even different that's better about them, because they are going old school. They are giving you the concierge medical treatment that we used to get back in the day. They make house calls. Their wound certified nurse practitioner shows up at your home at your convenience and gives you the treatment that you need in the comfort, privacy of your home. This isn't about going to an office. This is about sitting in a waiting room. My aunt developed MRSA because of a chronic wound she had. She didn't have MRSA when they started treating the wound, but because she was exposed to it during the treatment, she spent time in the hospital and eventually had some amputations. Don't ignore the problem. Fix the problem, and do it in the comfort and privacy of your own home. It can't be easier. They're changing the game, and let them show you what they can do. Wound Care Associates of Colorado. You get the convenience, comfort, and privacy of treatment in your own home. It is a personalized treatment plan to make sure that your wound heals, and you've got improved healing outcomes, because they want to fix it. They want to make sure that wound gets better. There are other places out there that just want to maintain it. We talked about that earlier. That's dumb. Don't do that. Don't make that mistakes. Contact Wound Care Associates of Colorado at coloradowound.com. coloradowound.com to find out more information. If you have someone in your family or yourself or struggling with a chronic wound, schedule your in-home visit today. coloradowound.com. When you reach out to them, tell them you heard about them here on the Jeff and Bill Show, because it helps us out. Thanks.
That's great to hear. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
Funding for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was cut off just 2 days after DOGE entered its headquarters on Friday. The Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vogt, who is also the acting head of the CFPB, stopped the flow of all new funding to the agency. Vogt was chosen to take over from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as interim head, who had temporarily led the agency after President Donald Trump fired its previous director, Rohit Chopra. Vogt saying, pursuant to the Consumer Financial Protection Act, I have notified the Federal Reserve that CFPB will not be taking its next draw of unappropriated funding because it's not reasonably necessary to carry out its duties. The Bureau's current balance of $711.6 million is in fact excessive in the current fiscal environment. This spigot, long contributing to CFPB's unaccountability, is now being turned off. CFPB was originally proposed in 2007 by Elizabeth Warren, then adopted by Barack Obama. Authorities say the remains of all 10 people killed when their small plane crashed into ice on the Bering Sea have been recovered. The Nome Volunteer Fire Department made the announcement on its Facebook page Saturday afternoon. The Bering Air single-engine turboprop plane was traveling to the hub community of Nome when it disappeared Thursday afternoon. It was found the next day after an extensive search.
In Dallas, Christina Owayo, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking all things Super Bowl this hour. What did you think of Trump being there, the patriotism, Taylor Swift, the Chiefs losing, Mahomes on his back, the halftime show, the commercials? Bill, this commercial struck me as desperate. This is the Bud Light.
You want to go fishing tomorrow? I got a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Fellas, excellent through lane party.
Good. They're on their way. Right here.
Pretty much every dude in America doesn't drink our beer anymore. Let's just run an ad over the top in an effort to appeal to dudes.
Say, I'm not sure that's true about people not drinking the Bud Light anymore. Even Kid Rock had given an apology a number of months ago.
I know.
So
did he collect a check in that apology?
Again, who cares? But the idea is, I disagree with the idea that not everybody drinks Bud Light anymore. That ad was okay. There were some things in there that I found that were funny. Everybody getting excited about being invited to the cul-de-sac party was really cool. The HOA reference was cool. The Peyton Manning showing up, and the really long cooler, and then the idea that no, my smoker cuts grass. They're good lines, but as a whole, it became kind of the party. The typical beer party ad, which is why one of my favorite ones was Liquid Death. Because they did the beer ad, but it's not beer.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was clever. The fact that they did the exact same basic tropes inside of a beer ad, but it's not beer. That I enjoyed. I was like, that's clever.
I thought the Budweiser ad fell flat too. Man, the little horse kind of pushing the keg. It was okay.
But not
do you remember they used to be like amazing? And I thought I only saw one Budweiser ad. Maybe I missed, but they used to.
Yeah, I used to have a couple, but again, it's based on money.
And it was great and all that. I saw that the Bud Light ad there is desperate effort to be relevant again to dudes, and it was just way over the top to me. So tell me what you thought. Give me a call, 303-696-1971.
Beer ad I liked.
The Bud Light Monday one?
No, the Ultra Hustle. That was awesome.
Which one was the Ultra Hustle?
That was the one with Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, okay.
Where they were scamming people for pickleball.
Yeah, that's right. Pickleball.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really good. that I really, really liked. Yeah, I liked that. The setup was nice. The execution was nice. Just the visuals were fantastic. And just Willem Dafoe's facial expressions. Just give me more of that. Give me more of that. That was fantastic. That
the
was
world
that was
loves
my
a character, and William Dafoe is one of them. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. The USAID has been in the spotlight recently as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, has been auditing the organization to figure out what American taxpayer dollars are being spent on and how his department can cut the waste, fraud, and overspending from the budget. Some of the payments he found are more than questionable, such as That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Owayo, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're covering all things Super Bowl the day after, a wild one. Feels good to be a Broncos fan, doesn't it? I like this one. Rocket Mortgage on John Denver, Country Roads.
Let's get you home. Almost heaven. West Virginia.
Of basically yearning and longing for home ownership.
Yeah, that was good.
How important that is.
So. Yeah, that was good. That was a really good one. Although, how much did they pay for that? Because there was a tie-in after they came back from the ad.
You noticed
they
that.
were playing it in the stadium, and then they stopped for about 30 seconds, and they had the crowd singing it, and they were trying to get some montages there. So that's not just buying the one ad. And so the first thing that I'm like, how much are they paying for this? It was that marketing tie-in. I'm like, oh, they paid to play this at the Super Bowl in the stadium while the ad was running, and then to cut back, it had to be in the last position in the commercial break, and then it had to have this 30-second grace period inside of the commercial timeout in order to come back to the stadium and let them do this. Yeah, wow. The fact they pulled it off, hat tip. That was fantastic.
Exactly.
The fact that they nailed it, because that's difficult to do. But
so not all those ads are programmed like that. A lot of them are just kind of picked on the fly based upon how the game's going.
Yeah.
But in that particular case, the tie-in was fascinating.
You can pay for positioning in the quarter,
right?
And you can pay for positioning the ad spot. You can pay a premium to be in the first position. You can also pick the quarter, but you can't pick. Normally, you don't get to pick what commercial spot you're in. You can't say, I want to be in the second commercial break in the quarter and everything else. And then they have those bonus ads that are thrown in based on unexpected timeouts and things. Yeah, and injuries. But,
and I didn't know about the guy on the sideline with the big orange gloves.
Yeah, orange mittens. Yes, he's the one that controls everything. You don't play until Orange Mitten says you're okay. Yes.
It is all a television production. I had a great time watching it because I felt like America was back. It was less of the divisiveness. But when we come back, I want to talk the most woke ad, of course, came from Progressive Christians, the He Gets Us campaign. We'll talk about that next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 8 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show. News Fox 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Fortune and you. It's out of the right, left, and center. It's Monday, February 10th, 2025, and we are here, Billy and I, to nurse you back into action after last night's Super Bowl. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. As a Broncos player, I couldn't be more thrilled. Broncos player,
Yeah.
Broncos fan.
So
I couldn't be
cool.
more thrilled.
It was awesome to see Mahomes lose. That was great.
And
on the biggest
every
stage.
time he hiked the football, that pocket collapsed.
Oh, that was glorious. That was glorious.
You remember when Bill, you were perfect on this.
Yeah.
We were about to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and we lost because they blocked our stupid field goal at the very end. And then to just see the pocket collapse over and over again, we felt like Nelson just pointing.
So nice. Yes. Yes. It was so nice to see. And again, only because Broncos fan, I couldn't stand having the Chiefs win 3 in a row. I mean, it's the first time someone in your division, yay, it kind of shines a light on the division. 3 in a row? No, because those people are going to be talking about it forever. So
yes,
no, that's going to be bad. It was nice to see. And it was, again, you always have this. Okay. Talking with one of my kids yesterday, had a really nice insight that it is, and it was a professional wrestling insight, that in professional wrestling, that it is the faces, the good guys, that get the cheers, but it's the heels, the bad guys, that sell the tickets.
Yeah.
And in football, it is the offense that gets the cheers, but it's defense that wins championships. That is still true, even in this offensive-heavy game. At the end of the day, in the Super Bowl, defense still wins championships. And that was cool to see.
So would love to hear from you as to what you thought of the Super Bowl last night. I want to get into this hour, the He Gets Us ad campaign that's been running the last few years. Is it effective? I don't think so. In fact, I was texting back and forth with good friend of the show, Justin Falk, who's the director of Am I Racist and What is a Woman, who actually produced a Super Bowl commercial one time. He won the Doritos contest, the one with the flying baby. That's his son. He won it. So I was texting with him, and he was going to join the show, but he had to catch an early morning flight this morning. And he goes, I'm going to call it now. This was hours, even before the Super Bowl started, that the most woke ad will come from the progressive Christians. And true to form, I think the most woke ad was the He Gets Us ad. And I don't think it's all that effective. But let's get into that and more. We'll talk about it. But first, news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff and Billy. 17 and partly cloudy in Denver. Actually, it's 19 now. Expecting a high of 36 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, a jackwagon who ran with the Sudan Palestinian flag during halftime of the Super Bowl last night. He's being banned from NFL stadiums. The backup dancer displayed the flag during Kendrick Lamar's performance before being tackled by security. It was a nice tackle, too. The NFL said no one involved with the production was aware of the individual's intent. It was not planned and was never in the rehearsal.
No, and that guy, you didn't even see it on the actual production. Yeah, so they did a good job of keeping it out there. And it's film. Cell phone footage from people that were in the stadium where you see it. And the guy's jumping on top of the car with the Palestinian flag. And then he jumps down and security's trying to get to him. And he runs around a little bit.
Yeah, they did a good job keeping him out of the frame. Didn't see it. Like you said, it was a cell phone video.
I mean, Blake and Bill, I'll ask you this too. If you're a Palestinian supporter, like I spent 4 days with them at the DNC. These guys didn't protest the RNC. They protested the DNC. Now they're person lost, and Donald Trump doesn't care at all about it. Wants to take over Gaza. Is like, yeah, we're gonna make it, Mara Gaza.
Right, and 2 countries have already said, "Oh no, we'll go. We'll rebuild."
What?
And then Lindsey Graham's all upset, and then 2 countries. Who was it? Jordan and someone else said no.
Probably.
Yeah, Egypt. Yeah, maybe it was Egypt, but
they made this is what I was trying to figure out spending 4 days with them. They went all in on the Democrats because my thesis is they felt like they could peel off a major party, right? Like there's 2 major parties in America. We could get one to abandon the Jews, and it's not going to be the Republicans. It'll be the Democrats. And so they went all in. 4 days of protests, right? And hesitations taking place within the Democrat Party of whether or not they're going to support Israel as much as and then they lose big. Donald Trump's in. He's come up with his Gaza plan. And then you got one guy with a flag running around the Super Bowl. Congratulations. You've got to be at the lowest point in the advocation of your issue.
Right.
at this point.
The only thing that I'm going to say,
nobody likes you on college campuses anymore. All the disruption.
Right.
Go ahead, Bill.
The only thing I'm going to say is the group Muslim Americans for Trump is now Muslim Americans for Peace. They rebranded in the last 10 days with the name because, well, now that they said they were for Trump and things are turning out this way, people are asking questions.
Or were
People in
they
their
named that
communities.
before the election?
Yes,
So
they were. Yeah, they were the ones that did all the organizing in Michigan and up in that area. In fact, their headquarters, I believe, are in Dearborn. Again, I'm not going to take their sides on it. I'm just saying that Jeff was saying, how do those people, how does that group that was, big on Gaza and Gazan rights and talking about,
were they for Gaza, the Muslim Americans for Trump?
Oh
They
yeah,
were?
yeah. Oh yeah,
I don't know
they were.
anything
Oh
about
yeah,
this
they
group.
were. They definitely. They thought that Biden wasn't stopping the genocide. They thought that the Americans were wrongly prosecuting the war. We were giving Israel too much aggression. We weren't doing enough, and because of that, they weren't going to support Biden, and they were going to support Trump. And we talked about that being a really weird choice before the election, and now afterwards, they turned around and changed their name.
I could see them being tired of the wokeness on the left, right? Oh, the rainbow mafia, all that stuff. They weren't frustrated with that.
No, this was Gaza. This was Palestinians. This was Israel. That's what they were looking at. Yep, that's what it was. And now they have turned around, and that's why now it's not about the wokeness. Because if it was about the wokeness, they wouldn't be Muslim Americans for Peace. They're now Muslim Americans for Peace because their issue was how Biden and his White House was prosecuting the war in Gaza. And someone on the show raised their hand and said, you understand that if Trump gets in, he's going to do the exact opposite of what you're hoping is going to happen. You understand the choice you are making. Feel free to make that choice. And ta-da! Here we are. Right. And now they changed their name. Yeah. So again, if you're asking, Jeff, you're asking, what about all those people that are there that are thinking about this in Gaza? There's your answer. The Muslim Americans for Trump changed to the Muslim Americans for Peace, telling you exactly how happy they are with their choice. They deserve everything they got. They voted for it. They chose it. This is what he said was going to happen.
They get everything they get for what they did on October 7th.
But the thing is this, Trump didn't pull the wool over their eyes and didn't lie to them about it. Not at all. He is who he is, and we could all predict this. They just didn't. They were so mad at Biden, they made a different choice. But that's how they feel now.
How much do you feel like in the Middle East, and we've gone off on a little bit of a rabbit trail, but it's relevant because it happened. It showed up at the Super Bowl last night.
Yeah.
Like it seems like the Middle East is just kind of done.
What do you mean by done?
With Iran, Hezbollah,
I agree.
Palestine, they're kind of like, it's this constant effort to remove the Jews from the face of the earth. We could just, settle in and live our lives.
I'm not certain. I'm not sold on that yet.
No. I think millions of Muslim Americans know that their best choice was Trump, and they're very satisfied. I've spoken to a few, so that's what I feel.
And I might disagree on that one. I don't think that's where the larger community, because again, the larger community is going to probably side more towards the Muslim world and the advocation to pick up an entire population of people and move them out of the area. Questionable. So, but I don't think that the entire.
But they're going to have a greater place when they move back.
Here's the question though: are they going to be allowed to move back? That's something
they will. They will.
Really?
I think so.
I'm so tired of Middle East meddling.
Really?
I defend Israel, but the idea that we're going to somehow build a culture and the radical Islamists are going to love what we provide for them. I'm like having flashbacks to Iraq and Afghanistan all over again.
I can't figure out that all of these developers that are going to come in and build what Trump has called the Riviera of the Middle East. Are then going to hand the keys to all those beautiful buildings to the Palestinians?
I never know.
That is not happening. There's no way those developers.
Aim high, Billy.
There's no way. There's no way those developers are going to hand it back.
Building, you're going to launch rockets from it.
Yeah.
There's
just no way. There's no way they're handing the keys back.
Do you know that we spent billions of our dollars, taxpayers' dollars, on cement? And you know what? I just found this out.
And they built bunkers underground with it.
Yeah, that was the tunnels.
Yeah,
right.
That's what they built the cement. That's what they used with the cement.
Yeah. Part of the thing is, Hamas had been siphoning off aid for years and years inside of Palestine, but nobody really wanted to deal with it properly. And I don't say that shooting people is the way to deal with it properly, but I'm not convinced yet that the Middle East is done or over the idea of the conflict. I don't think that. However, I do think that Iran is probably in its weakest position ever.
Yes, you're right.
Because the crescent of power that they tried to gather in that area between Hamas, between Hezbollah, between Syria has all dissolved. And so they're basically alone right now. But I'm not certain that that means the rest of the Arab world is going to come cozy-cozy up to America.
I'm just fascinated by the calculation because I spent 4 days with those people. You can see what the calculation was.
Yeah.
It was, we're going all in. We're going to peel the Democrats off. Kamala Harris is going to win. Then we're going to, reduce our funding to Israel and all that. We're going to have all this power within the Democrat Party. And now they are totally weakened, to your point, Bill.
Yep. And they've got 4 years to think about what they've done. Go sit in the corner and think about it. Yes, that's my advice.
All right, I continue.
Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this.
And millions of people probably did turn the tube off before Kendrick Lamar at halftime, maybe. It was a boat race. Broncos fans happy this morning. Jeff and Billy celebrating. The Chiefs drilled by the Eagles. Quarterback Jalen Hurts, the MVP, 17 of 21, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The Eagles dominated the Chiefs up front, winning Super Bowl 59, 40-22 the final.
Complete overhaul for the Eagles, and so far looking good in the first half of this game. Here's Mahomes, pressure right away. Mahomes is sacked. Josh Sweat gets home.
And rookie Cooper DeJean with one of the biggest plays of the game, picked off a pass, took it to the house. During the national anthem, the corporate crowd roared when they showed DJT on the screen, saluting. Okay, I'll give it to Billy there. Yes, there were a lot of Chiefs fans there cheering him on. And then we had Swift, Taylor Swift. She comes up on the Jumbotron or scoreboard or whatever you want to call it. I love playing that. It is a corporate crowd, yeah, and that was more than likely a lot of Eagles fans. But what an ugly game. Great game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see, what do we have here? Brett Baer interviewed DJT on Fox before the game.
I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. And, the people elected me on that.
And Elon and Doge are moving and mowing down corruption like the Eagles did the Chiefs last night. Merchandise printed up for a possible Chiefs three-peat will be donated. Once again, they do this every year. The NFL partners with a charity called Good 360 to send that merch across the country and abroad to people in need. In the past
I'll buy that
Super Bowl. Yes,
I would absolutely buy that. I would love to have
open the bag.
A Kansas City three-peat shirt just to wear that to Broncos games. That'd
be fun.
I would pay for that.
Well, let's see. The countries that receive these in the past, Ukraine, they don't need any of that. They have plenty of our money. Mongolia, Georgia, Estonia, and Latvia. So I love seeing that stuff, man.
Wouldn't it be fun to have a three-peat shirt that never actually came to? Cool. It's a constant reminder of how close the Chiefs got, and they never were able to reach it. Oh, as a Broncos fan, that feels so good.
It's a great day for you, no doubt. New 25% import tariffs on steel and aluminum will be announced by 47 today. It remains unclear if the steel and aluminum tariffs will be in addition to the ones that were placed on countries like China. Republican lawmakers in the Senate and House are in a race to advance DJT's agenda. It comes as the two chambers are pushing two different legislative packages. Speaker Mike Johnson and House Republicans are promising to move forward on a budget resolution to advance Trump's agenda in one bill. All right, it is 15 in Englewood, and it's 16 in Louisville right now, and 19 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Be ready for a colder week here in Denver. This will be especially true by tonight and into Tuesday and Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies early, clouding up later on, highs in the upper 30s. Mostly cloudy tonight, some light snow flurries and fog, lows down to near 10. Could see a dusting of snow. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, cold. Highs low to mid-20s, falling to the teens with light snow developing. Snow likely Tuesday night, accumulations likely, lows 5 to 10. Lingering light snow, continuing Wednesday, highs only teens. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. I was texting back and forth with a friend of the show, Justin Falk. He's the director of What is a Woman and Am I Racist? He lives here in Colorado. Been on the program lots and was hoping to get his analysis of the Super Bowl commercials, but he's traveling today. But he did tweet this out, and I think it was exactly right. My Super Bowl prediction, the only woke commercial this year will come from progressive Christians. And you saw yesterday during the Super Bowl, as you've seen with previous Super Bowls, the He Gets Us campaign. Now, Natasha Crane on X has a good synopsis of what it is. The ad is titled, What is Greatness? It shows a series of photos of people helping each other in various, often sacrificial ways. For example, they show people helping someone push a car out of snow, someone donating an organ, a woman saving another woman from a car accident, and other uncontroversial actions. Embedded in these shots are also a couple more culturally charged examples, including a man washing the words, "Go back," off of a building, presumably an immigration reference, a man wearing a John 3:16 hat, hugging another man in the middle of what appears to be an LGBTQ pride event. All of this set to the song Personal Jesus, written by Depeche Mode, the idea of being that you can be Jesus to someone else by being great in these ways. The ad ends with the words, Jesus showed us what greatness really is. He gets us, all of us. As in the previous years, there'll be Christians defending these ads as being helpful in generating interest from non-believers in learning more about Jesus. And as in previous years, others are saying that these ads are actually harmful to the cause of evangelism because the campaign reinforces what culture wants to believe about Jesus while leaving out what culture doesn't want to believe. If culture's wrong ideas about Jesus become more deeply seated due to the campaign like this, it simply makes it harder for biblically faithful Christians to share about the real Jesus, a Jesus people don't often want to hear about. Bill, what did you think of the He Gets Us ad campaign?
Weird choice of song. That was bizarre. The Depeche Mode song, especially if you, again, this is the problem that I have with my brain. The origins of that is about Elvis. That's the really weird part. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The origin of the song is Martin Gore is the member of Depeche Mode that wrote the song. Took inspiration from Lisa Marie Presley's book about Elvis and Priscilla Presley and things. And so the idea of that relationship and someone being your own personal Jesus, which was weird. That to me, I'm like, this is a weird choice as far as the ad. The thing that I enjoyed about it was the idea of just opening your heart to everybody. There was a idea that kind of like no prejudice type of an idea that, you accept all and you try to help all. It's the idea of, Jesus' message of doing, for the least of us. That was kind of what I got out of that one. It was a decent message. I don't think that it necessarily persuaded anybody to go one way or the other per se, but it was an interesting message. And the John 3:16 shot was the one that got me too. I was like, that's interesting, and that was an interesting. But it was a shot that, if we're talking about some of the things that Jesus did over the course of his life, you could see him making that same choice. So I understand where they were going with it. I'm not necessarily sure that it persuaded or did anything to motivate anybody closer to either the church or to their version of the church. But yeah, they got me the whole time, though, as I'm going, this Depeche Mode song. Why are we choosing this Depeche Mode song? That's what I'm doing the whole time, because I understand the reference, understand where the Depeche Mode song comes from. I know the album. I know the visuals behind it. I'm just like, it's a weird choice. It's kind of like the one, what's the other one? The one we got here, the Him and Hers ad, the song they used behind there. I'm like, that's a weird choice if you understand the artist and what he's doing inside that song. It's not really doing what you're saying it's doing inside the advertisement. The advertisement's somewhat of 180 degrees away from where some of that music is. But oh well. Yeah.
So for me, it is this kind of portrayal of, and it's a critique I had of Jimmy Carter too, of the idea that Jesus was just kind of a hippie. He was, just kind of all about love and acceptance and peace, man, and your own personal Jesus and all that stuff. And I'm going, no, there's a real call to repentance. So what brought me to faith was somebody being very frank about the impact of sin in my life. Yes, God loved me. God created me. God died for me. But Jeff, you've got a really big problem. You are deep in sin in your own life, the way you look at the world, your sinfulness, all that. And you need to get very serious about your salvation, or you're going to spend eternity in hell. And I did, and I called out to God, and that was my conversion. And so I have a few critiques. One, when Jesus is just kind of your the nice little guy that's going to always love everybody, welcome everybody. That's contrary to a lot of the gospel message, which is a deep call to repentance, to the salvation work that Christ did on the cross. That, he didn't just die because he was a good guy. He died to pay the penalty for our sins. So that I think is really important. And two, I don't like it when the critique is often against the conservative Christian, right? So if Jesus loves everybody, right? This was a good tweet out there yesterday. Well, what about a street preacher hugging a January 6er, or somebody with a MAGA hat, or Jesus weeping over somebody that had a double mastectomy as a result of the LGBTQ? Why is it always the conservative Christian that needs to be portrayed as being more accepting? I think that sends a kind of a gut punch to the church, where it's like, no, the problem is you guys. The he gets us ad is saying, really, if it was just conservative Christians that were more loving, then everything would work out and you'd have more people in your church. And it just always feels like it's that directional. So those are the critiques I have on that type of ad campaign. But, look, if it brings people into the church, I'm all for it. Right. There's this often effort to, if it's not perfect, I'll bash it all the time. Right. Yeah. I've met, I don't think he's a very good pastor, but who's the guy down in Houston, the mega church, who's like super happy all the time? I forget his name.
Osteen?
Yes. There you go. Joel Osteen. Right.
He annoys me.
I don't really like him.
Personal.
Right. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah.
I've met really deeply held Christians that have come out of that church, and I go, maybe I shouldn't be so judgmental all the time. So, I think there's an effort sometimes by conservative Christians to jump in and judge this stuff and be like, this is terrible. How? Okay. Right. Well, look, if it brings people to Christ, I'm all for it. Do I agree with everything? No, I don't. I think there's problems with it. I think there's some unintended consequences, or maybe some intentional consequences with the He Gets Us ad campaign. that I just laid out, some of the aspects I don't like about it, but
Yeah,
brings people in.
There is something there that I think is somewhat telling, and why those ads at some point when you're talking about, and why the Christian conservatives are the ones that feel like they're ostracized in messages like that, in part because of, and this is my opinion, the explanation that you just gave right there. Because in the explanation, you focused on the repentance, that you're asking the believer to come and to repent for their sins, where the message there is about forgiveness. And that's where I think the stronger message is. I think that you lose people and you lose the message when you say, well, first, you have to be sorry for all the bad stuff you did. That's the repentance message. Where the forgiveness message is, we understand you've made mistakes and we will forgive you and we will help you live a better life. That's the forgiveness message that I think is much stronger. And the reason why I believe that conservative Christians are held up in ads like this is specifically because of that repentance message. It's not about forgiveness and redemption. It's about punishment and saying you're sorry for what you're wrong. It's first pointing out that you are wrong, and then maybe you're allowed into this group, rather than you're allowed into this group even though you've made mistakes. You say you're sorry for those mistakes and it's genuine. We now can chart a new path. But when you start first with, you better understand what you did wrong and you better say you're sorry first, that's a barrier to entry. And I think the message is much stronger with forgiveness.
And I'm okay with starting, absolutely, with welcoming and acceptance and all that. But if that's where it ends, right? If we're just, hey, come on in, and the gospel isn't life-changing, isn't full of repentance, isn't full of confession, those types of things, then it's just moralism. Then it's just, well, do a little bit better next time. You had a God die on a cross, and he died on a cross to pay a penalty. Like there's seriousness to this sin that you have to be willing to address. And so I guess that's, to your point, Bill, where I feel like it just stalls out, where it's kind of like, well, life will just be a little bit better if you just do a little bit better next time.
Are we missing the message if we, by going to the repentance side, by not understanding or not giving enough space to the fact that God died for all of our sins, that Jesus put his life on the line and gave it up, and God giving up his only son to pay for the mistakes that we did? To me, that's a stronger message than, you understand how serious this is. You got to repent. You got to repent. It's, wait, this Son of God went through this excruciating so that you could be redeemed, so that all of your faults, all the things that you fail on, the big ones and the small ones, every day, every week, every month, all the things, all the times you stub your toe and stumble, all the times you fall down flat on your face, and all the time that you're the cause of the problem, that's all forgiven. But you need to walk the path this way. I think that's a stronger message when
Bill,
you start with.
I'm 100% with you.
See, and
I would say that's not what was communicated in that ad.
See, I would say it was. I see the forgiveness
I didn't see
and the
anything about
redemption
Christ
was
in
there.
that.
Well, see, it was the forgiveness and the redemption, the idea of the acceptance and looking for something. And so I would think that it would be a much harsher ad if they were turning in every instance was, you've got to say sorry for your sin. You have to acknowledge you're a sinner. You have to acknowledge you're a sinner. That's a totally different tone in the ad, rather than, you're forgiven for these sins. Let's walk this path together. And I think that's why that message resonates a little stronger.
Would love to hear from you. Phone lines are open. That was a conversation, Bill, that is not going to happen on any other station.
No one
which
else
I sure
in the nation is
appreciate.
going to do it.
So,
That was great, man.
Love it. Join the conversation. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Did you think the ads were woke yesterday? I didn't think so. I think we've turned a corner. You go back to the Brad Pitt start, it's our unity that's our strength. Man, it feels like America's back. I was thrilled. I didn't agree with everything, but overall, pretty happy with the Super Bowl. Love to hear from you. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
President Donald Trump has doubled the amount of his lawsuit against CBS from $10 billion to $20 billion after CBS was forced to release the unedited version of their Kamala Harris interview. Trump saying the video proves the network deceptively edited the 60 Minutes interview to make her look good and interfere with the presidential election. In the new court filing, President Trump included CBS's parent company, Paramount Global, as a defendant and added Republican U.S. Representative Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former doctor, as an additional plaintiff. This week, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr opened a separate inquiry into allegations of news distortion at CBS. Less than 2 weeks after President Donald Trump said DOJ will take a deep dive into the Federal Emergency Management Agency, aka FEMA, representatives of Elon Musk's DOJ were at the agency conducting an audit of their spending. Musk saying that potentially illegal payments made by FEMA will be immediately paused, such as the more than $1 billion given to NGOs whose focus was helping with the influx of illegal migrants into the country. Reports show that the money from FEMA that is meant for Americans suffering from disasters was used instead to pay for healthcare, travel, food, and housing for illegal migrants. FEMA also allegedly funneled money to the Red Cross, which has now been exposed for assisting illegals crossing the border.
In Dallas, Christina Wild, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Lots of text messages coming in about the Super Bowl yesterday. 5556. One performance in the Super Bowl that I didn't hear anyone talk about was the Lady Gaga song to commemorate the victims of the terrorist attack. It was amazing. I missed that because it was before the Super Bowl started. Do you remember? Did you hear
I didn't
that?
watch. No, I didn't watch that one because I know that she's got a new one.
She was out. I remember seeing
Denver or
the tail
something
end of
or
it.
other.
She was
Yeah.
out in the in Bourbon Street. She played.
Oh,
so
know. That's interesting.
And considering what New Orleans went through, it was a really fun celebration of all things kind of Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
New Orleans culture. I like that.
Here's a question. We haven't touched this one yet, and I didn't even prep you on this one, so we're doing this together.
Let's do it.
National anthem. Did you hear it, and what'd you think if you did?
It was okay. I like Chris Stapleton better,
Yeah.
but I there's nothing like offensive about his portrayal of it. It was just kind of like, okay, it was jazzy. It was fine.
Yeah. It was.
What'd you think?
I like, again, the Whitney Houston, that one like really is the one as far as a
That's the
standard
high bar.
performance. Yeah. But there's something that I appreciate inside of music. And this is one of the reasons why music does something for me that is different than all other types of media. And it's because music is really the only one where it's okay for you to rip off somebody else's work. It's okay for you to take somebody else's song or a song someone else has written and then give your own interpretation. If Jeff and I showed up tomorrow and like, hey, look, we rewrote War and Peace, you go, just shut up, stop that. Or we started off and we said, you know what we're doing? We're remaking Star Wars. Jeff would have no idea what we're doing, but still, people would laugh at us.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Exactly. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And so that's the thing. You're not really allowed to do that in any other genre other than, music. Jeff and I couldn't go out and say, look, we've redone our favorite Van Gogh and Picasso paintings. Buy them now online. No one would care. But you can redo a song and give it your own. Some can be really good. Some can be really bad. But that's why I think that music is special, because it allows that interpretation of somebody else's work on a level that isn't allowed in other forms of art. And I liked his interpretation of it. Is it going to be the standard for? No. Is it something I'll even go out and buy? No. But I enjoyed what John Baptiste did, influencing the song with jazz and New Orleans.
Yeah, right.
He paid homage to where he was,
Right.
and he played it like he would. And so it was enjoyable. I liked it because it represented the area. It wasn't offensive, and it only clocked in at 120 seconds, which made the betting lines really mad. Because the over
was going to go.
Yeah, no, the over was 140 and the under was 115. So the betting lines were stuck yesterday for a while because they couldn't figure out what they were going to do, because he came in at exactly 120. And that was a problem because that was the break point for a lot of them. So this was, it was interesting. I saw that right after right after the anthem. That was kind of cool.
The Super Bowl is one of the biggest days to eat food, grill, barbecue, right up there with Thanksgiving. And of course, there's an interesting Maha advertisement yesterday from Hims and Hers.
Obesity is America's deadliest epidemic.
This is America.
74% of us are overweight, and obesity leads to 500,000 deaths each year.
Why, you just have to stop eating, Jimmy.
This is America.
Something's broken. It's not our bodies. It's the system. Welcome to Weight Loss in America.
Like and subscribe.
A $160 billion industry that feeds on our failure. There are medications that work, but they're priced for profits, not patients.
This is America.
This system wasn't built to help us. It was built to keep us sick and stuck. But not anymore. Hims and Hers offers life-changing weight loss medications. They're affordable, doctor-trusted, and formulated in the USA. You get a treatment plan designed by a doctor to fit your body, goals, and lifestyle. You deserve to feel great in your body. This is the future of healthcare. This is Hims and Hers. Join us in the fight for a healthier America.
Do you really, during the Super Bowl, want to hear about your weight problem? The obesity epidemic. It's like the one day you're like, I'm just going to drink beer and barbecue and eat chips and dip and all that good stuff.
That was a weird one. That for me, it was a weird one where it was placed. 2, I can't get over the music. That's This Is America by Childish Gambino. Yeah, it's Childish Gambino. And that's This Is America. That's a fairly political song, and most of our audience would not appreciate what is being represented in that song at all. I was like, okay, it's a weird choice. And they even use some of his lyrics. And I'm like, Oh, that was a hard thing for me to break apart when I'm hearing this message, because that's what I keep focusing on is the music inside of it, because I understand what that message is. I'm like, this is a really weird choice. The other one that was strange for me is the healthcare message was, hey, take a pill.
Right.
It wasn't the idea of living a healthy lifestyle, making better choices. You've got some of the songs.
Everyone hold back.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're getting a little maha there, Billy boy.
Oh no, not at all. But the idea being, we've got some of those ads right now where people do an entire dance about, I'm doing this with my A1C, and then what? Hang on, we're worried about those, those numbers and things like that.
Ozempic.
Exactly. The Ozempic ones. Yes. You're like, wait a minute. The other part is they didn't do the traditional 4 minutes of side effects. And I'm kind of curious, how'd they get around that?
Yeah.
Was it because they weren't advertising a specific product and they just said, this is a service we apply or we provide? That's what I'm curious about. That's the other part. In the entire time, I'm like, where are the side effects?
Yeah.
Because, and again, I'm guessing it's because they weren't advertising a specific product like Ozempic or something like that. That because it was just a broader notion, they could do it based on, this is what we do.
Yeah, good question. I saw it as maha is permeating everything. Robert F. Kennedy's going to do a great job, but we're waking up to the fact that we are over-injected, obese, suicidal, dependent upon the government, eating crummy food all the time that's giving us bad energy, and it's got to be addressed, and it's permeating even Super Bowl culture, which is awesome. So on that note, I think Robert F. Kennedy could possibly be confirmed this week, get through, start handing him the reins, and things can start to take shape over at HHS. We'll continue. I want to talk to you first about my friends over at Advanced Hair Restoration. If the last couple of years have taught us one thing, it's to value the things that we can control. And addressing hair loss is no exception. Our friends at Advanced Hair Restoration can reverse years or even decades of hair loss with their simple one-day treatment. Your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. It works for bald spots, receding hairlines, thinning hair, men, women, younger, wiser. Advanced Hair can address many different patterns of hair loss. Advanced Hair's top-rated physicians like Dr. Tanya Pauls have changed tens of thousands of people's lives. And now it's your turn. So schedule your free consultation by calling 720-459-HAIR. And to celebrate the new year, get special financing, 250 free hair grafts, and $250 off. Value the things you can control and start regrowing your own natural hair today. That's 720-459-HAIR, or become inspired with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com. All right, we'll continue. Phone calls coming in. We'll get to you next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Let's go to Carol Lakewood. Good morning, Carol.
Hi, how are you doing? How are you doing? Okay. Well, they talk about the national anthem all the time. The best one was Whitney Houston. But somehow, I saw Cher do the national anthem on the Broncos Super Bowl in Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
You should pull it up because she was spot on. I mean, I don't really care for Cher anymore, but she actually did a really good job doing the national anthem. You should pull it up on
Has
YouTube.
anyone at the Super Bowl done a really bad job? Bill, do you remember anybody, Carol, that did a bad job at that level?
I have to think. There might be some.
Probably a bad job, but I don't know. But I couldn't believe Cher. I didn't even realize she sang the national anthem at the 1999 Super Bowl. I can't remember that. I can't remember it. So you should pull it up on YouTube and play it over the radio because she was perfect singing it. She was probably better before Whitney Houston came on, because what they should do with the national anthem is just put Whitney Houston singing it instead of all these people that come on.
The AI version, the holographic version of Whitney Houston.
No, it's the actual.
No, but I mean,
she sang.
Yeah, but she's not live anymore.
No, but you can just replay it. I mean, that was the best rendition of the national anthem I've ever heard with Whitney.
Yeah, I think that was the best. The thing for me is I want to see it performed live. If you're just going to, at something like the Super Bowl, if you're going to go, and now press play. I'm not as excited about that.
Okay. But yeah, just go ahead if you can find the YouTube version of Cher singing, because you see a young John Elway, you see Romanowski standing there. She really did a good job. I was surprised. And also, you should tell Dan Kaplis that he cannot pick big games like that, because he picked Notre Dame over Ohio State. Yeah. They killed him. He picked Kansas City over Philadelphia, and the whole state of Colorado, I think, was for Philadelphia.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing: now, Carol, we just next time, if you get a chance to talk to a good friend of ours, Dan Kaplis, we love him. Think he's a great guy, stand-up dude, wonderful lawyer, great talk show host. Just remind him, these guys over here on this radio station both picked Philadelphia. Just saying. Okay. If you have a chance. I'm just saying,
But I don't really care for Dan Kaplis because I had a car accident in 2017. He never called me back. It was one of those collision rear-ended things up on Alameda and Garrison here in Lakewood.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And there was a lady that hit me from the rear end.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Carol, I'm so sorry to hear that. I bet that wasn't intentional, though. I'm certain that it just got lost. It's I've never heard of anyone that worked with Kaplis that just ignored him. Carol, thank you so much for the phone call. So I'm certain that was just something that got lost in the rigmarole or the business of the day, that it wasn't intentional. And so I'm certain, Carol, that if he had a chance to talk to you about it today, he would apologize deeply, because that is just not how he rolls. He's normally really, really good. And one of the stories that I always tell about Dan Kaplis is that I've had a couple of experiences, not in my own personal life, but with friends, in which Dan really went the extra mile. And I'm not talking about representation. I'm talking about just being a good person, that he has spent time calling the clients when he had free time during the day to just check on how they are, not with an update of the case, but to check on you as a human. That doesn't happen. You don't get that level of personalized service with most law offices. They want to make sure the check clears and they'll update you on the case. He has spent time, numerous occasions that I can point to with people that I know. Again, not anything personal in my family. These are all friends and acquaintances, where he has taken time out of his day to check on how the person is doing. How's your stress level? Are you okay? Are you getting enough sleep? I know that you, last time we talked, that you said your stomach was kind of upset and you were worried about this and this. How are you feeling? Not discussing case matters, but talking about who you are as a person. And in my book, that makes Dan different than most of the other guys out there.
I agree with you. I've known him for well over a decade. Absolutely fantastic. Appreciate you, Dan. So in the 9 o'clock hour, are we saying goodbye to the penny? Ooh. DJT and Jared Polis agreeing it's time to stop minting the penny. My goodness. New York Times reporting that Trump has ordered Treasury Secretary to stop minting pennies. Can he do it? It's not really clear, but Trump is right. Even the New York Times agrees with him that pennies literally cost us more than 2 cents to print.
Yeah.
And make.
What are kids going to put on railroad tracks now? Sorry.
I don't really have a dog in this fight. This is not something that I'm like, oh, we got to stand strong.
Yeah.
But Trump saying that we've got to rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's 1 penny at a time. And it literally costs us more than 2 cents to make every penny.
That's clever. Even, ripping out the waste.
Yeah,
Even if it's one
that's
thing at
right.
a time. I like that. That's a nice turn of phrase. That is a good one. I appreciate that myself.
So join the conversation. Are you happy to see the penny go? Or is this just kind of a useless thing that we're taking on in our government? I don't know. Tell me. I don't have a dog in this fight. 303-696-1971. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, February 10th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. It is close to Billy and I are here to nurse you through the recovery to help you out. We're talking all things Super Bowl, and in a second, we're going to get into Trump and Jared Polis coming together to get rid of the penny. I'm agnostic on this. Text message 7579. Are we just gonna have to round everything up or down to the nearest nickel? But does anybody carry change around with them? That's the thing. I don't know. I don't carry literally coins around with me. Everything is digital these days. So does it matter? Does it make an impact? Or do we have to round it up or down? Jared Polis been calling for this for a long time. So he and Trump celebrating last night on X. It's weird. We'll get into that. But first, I want to go to the phone lines. Let's go to Shumay Centennial. Now, Shumay, we're friends.
Yes.
And you were posting on last night how much you loved the halftime show. And I was sitting there going, I couldn't understand any of the words. I didn't know who the guy was. I had never heard any of these songs. I didn't. It was like anybody over 40 just sat there kind of staring blankly at the television, but you were all into it. You got to help me out here. What was so good about yesterday's halftime show?
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I couldn't understand a lot of the words either. Let me be honest. But I have a high schooler. I have a senior, and she's a big fan. My husband, he likes to, be cool with music. So, I just thought it was a great halftime show that was honestly decently family friendly. You didn't have girls who were sexualized or dressed up as objects, as sexual objects. Nothing was really demonic like they've done in previous shows. It was really just red, white, and blue, more patriotic, no nudity, no hypersexualized dance moves, no wokeness. There was no rainbow madness, no Black Lives Matter stuff. He called out pedophilia. I don't know. I just feel like it was a win in terms of what we've seen in previous halftime shows.
High five coming from Bill for the catch on the Drake disc there. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh
did.
yeah.
That was,
and even cooler, he had two of Drake's exes in in the show, SZA and Serena.
Yes, Serena, yes. Yeah, when Serena was out there during Not Like Us, I'm like, oh, he's going hard on Drake. This was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think the people who are like, oh, it was awful, I don't think it was meant for that demographic. Maybe. I don't know. It was definitely geared for a younger crowd. But I just think the Overton window has kind of shifted a little bit, seeing that it was geared towards those people, and they're not trying to use sex to sell. They're not trying to use, vulgar language or, this culture kind of trans gay stuff, so
now, Shumay, I appreciate the fact that you pointed out the non-sexualization of the dancers and the people performing, because in years past, we would say with any rock, but especially with rap, that if it was a male rapper, you would expect a lot of scantily clad women gyrating and looking more like they belong at the strip club on a pole than during a Super Bowl halftime show. But you're right. Fully clothed. It was all done with red, white, and blue. Although, personally, now I want to see if you heard this as well. Middle of the Super Bowl halftime performance, his microphone dropped and the music overrode what some of his lyrics were. I don't think that was on purpose. I think it was a mistake in the mix. But all of a sudden, during the middle of the performance, I'm like, you can't hear him. You can't hear Kendrick. And that's the entire reason of listening to Kendrick is you listen to Kendrick. You're not listening to the beat. You're listening to what he's saying, because that's where the magic is.
Totally. Yeah, I didn't catch that, actually. We were just all just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was so good. And how he teased Not Like Us twice. That was amazing. That was so cool.
Yes.
That was
And then
so
he
cool.
still did it. I love that he still did it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. And then his necklace had an A, a small A for A minor, which is and I don't know, considering that all of Hollywood, we know they're pedophiles, they are sexual deviants. And so to kind of just to drop that and just make fun of it and then say game over at the end, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
And I also wanted to make have this moment of Shumay and Billy agreeing, which
know.
was great.
I know.
I know. This never happens.
I still want Travis
Never happens.
Tritt. I want Reba McEntire. I want Brooks and Dunn. Bring those guys back. We haven't had country in like 20 years.
It's so true. But when I was a senior, like my oldest is a senior, it was the Justin and Janet show. So there was like plain old nudity in that one. So this was much better than what we, past shows. So
Shemay,
but I agree. We need
you're
a country
great.
show.
You're great.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you so much
Shemay.
for taking time to
you
give
so
us a
much.
call. Last night when she was posting, I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, you got to call in because I think this is a moment where you and Bill are going to agree.
I know. That's
It's
nice.
just fun.
We never agree. I started an event the other day, and so it was nice to just chat with her. Yeah, offline a little bit. Yeah, she's great. We
Shemay,
don't
thanks
agree on
so
a lot of
much
stuff.
for
Thanks,
the call.
Shemay.
We'll get to that. We've also got other phone calls on the penny, which Jared Polis, Donald Trump coming together to get rid of the penny. We'll talk about that and more. But first, news and comments with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff and Billy. 23 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 36 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, the Senate is set to vote this evening to potentially set up a final confirmation vote for Tulsi Gabbard's nomination for intelligence chief. Lawmakers will take a procedural vote at 3:30 Mountain. That could lead to Gabbard's final confirmation vote taking place as early as tomorrow. There is apparently a leaker inside the FBI, oh, what a shock, who is tipping the media off to large-scale illegal immigration raids. The latest in LA, they're expecting this week, possibly today. Retired Texas ICE agent Victor Avila feels that and fears that this will stoke fear, which could lead to violence.
You're going to end up with an ambush.
Yeah,
and Tom
that's
Homan's exactly
absolutely
right. They're going to find out where these are, and
Yes.
then you're going to lose, the life of an ICE member, DHS. This is terrible. You should be fully prosecuted for interfering.
No doubt.
With ICE. I mean, I posted this over the weekend. Like, we have 100 members of TDA running around the city of Denver because they were tipped off. You are literally choosing criminals over the safety and well-being of the citizens of Denver when you do this,
Absolutely.
right?
You are sick and you deserve to be behind bars, no doubt. And the FBI, just another example, if this is true, needs to be cleared out. A clown who ran with a Sudan Palestinian flag during halftime of last night's Super Bowl is being banned from NFL stadiums. The backup dancer displayed the flag during Kendrick Lamar's performance before being tackled by security. The NFL said no one involved with the production was aware of the individual's intent.
Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off. Turn this.
And millions of people probably turned off the tube before Kendrick Lamar at halftime. Could have been the score of the game. And maybe the fact that they had no idea who Kendrick Lamar was. But as you just heard, I think it was Shemay just came on and agreed with Billy. So a lot of people thought it was a good halftime. Yeah, it was all right. The only good 5 seconds of the halftime to me was this.
This world were mine, I would place
Oh my God, it was beautiful. Luther, it was so good.
I want Travis Tritt, man. He was the only one that was out there, or was one of the few saying, I'm not going to play those venues if you require vaccinations. He stood strong all through that COVID stuff. I tried to get him to the summit one year. Just the calendar didn't line up. And he played in the 90s back when it was, you had all those great country stars up there. It's time for some country.
See, I agree with you. How about just one song from a country, band, one song from a rock band, one song from an R&B or rap, just go around the horn. 4 or 5 songs, live bands. I'd like to see
That'd be fun. And then
that.
Weird Al Yankovic.
And then Weird Al.
You could do a whole thing with Weird Al.
Dude, absolutely.
Amish. What was it? Amish. What was his song?
Amish Paradise.
Amish Paradise.
Amish Paradise. He had like 1,000 songs that
Amish
were
Paradise
just
is great.
clever. Yeah, man. That guy was a genius, man. You know, I think the actual halftime show last night, and I told the family this, was the pregame show. It was awesome. Southern's band came out there, and what's his name was Mr. New Orleans with the piano. I always
Harry
forget his
Connick
name.
Jr.
Harry Connick Jr. Thank you. That was great, man. That's what a halftime show should be, in my opinion. All right, so we didn't have Luther. Golly, I mean, it was like 5 seconds, and then what's her name? Scissor, what was her name? SZA? What? SZA? Yeah, okay. She sampled it, I guess. Let's see. The game was an arse whipping. Also, Broncos fans loved it. The Chiefs drilled by the Eagles. Quarterback Jalen Hurts, the MVP, 17 of 22, 221 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. The Eagles dominated the Chiefs up front, winning Super Bowl 59, 40-22.
4-man rush. Mahomes pressured again. Sacked again.
No three-peat for KC. During the national anthem, the corporate crowd roared when they showed DJT on the big screen. Majority of Americans love him. When they showed Taylor Swift on the Jumbotron to the corporate crowd. And true enough, is probably mostly Eagles fans. Before the game, Trump flew over New Orleans and the Gulf of America and signed the declaration making the Gulf of America official. He became the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. Brett Baer interviewed him on Fox before the game.
I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. And, you know, the people elected me on that.
Yep. And 47 set to announce a new 25% steel and aluminum import tariff today. It remains unclear if the steel and aluminum tariffs will be in addition to the ones that were placed on countries like China. Republican lawmakers in the Senate and House are in a race to advance DJT's agenda. It comes as the two chambers are pushing 2 different legislative packages. Speaker Mike Johnson and House Republicans are promising to move forward a budget resolution to advance Trump's agenda in one bill, hopefully. 47 wants to be done with paper straws. He posted on Truth Social that he plans to sign an executive order sometime this week to undo a Biden-era plan to phase out plastic straws in favor of paper ones. I like that idea, too. And Lindy Lee is, man, this is fascinating. She was in the Biden administration. I don't know if she's a spy or not. I have no idea. But who was running the country the last 4 years?
Who was running the presidency for the last 4 years?
Hey, wait a minute. You repeated me. Okay, Sean Ryan, here we go.
A lot of people say it was Obama's 3rd term.
It was for sure Obama's 3rd term. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think anyone, it definitely was. And that's why you saw Obama fighting for his dear life. Why was he fighting so hard in the fall? Because he was fighting for his 4th term. He was fighting for his own legacy. Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeb Zients, Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book basically grifting off his relationship with the Bidens. I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all this. Please give me credit but these are the people who ran our country for the last 4 years.
Interesting. You can check it out on Sean Ryan. 21 in Centennial, 20 in North Glen, 23 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue.
I give you the flowers, the birds, and the bees.
Don't forget Valentine's Day coming up, fellas. Be ready. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Be ready for a colder week here in Denver. This will be especially true by tonight and into Tuesday and Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies early, clouding up later on, highs in the upper 30s. Mostly cloudy tonight, some light snow flurries and fog, lows down to near 10. Could see a dusting of snow. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, cold. Highs low to mid-20s, falling to the teens with light snow developing. Snow likely Tuesday night, accumulations likely, lows 5 to 10. Lingering light snow, continuing Wednesday, highs only teens. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, yesterday, Trump ordering Treasury Secretary to stop minting pennies. Jared Polis agrees with this. He likes it, saying, as well as saving taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars, there are major environmental benefits to eliminating the penny. This is a great move. Donald Trump wrote, for too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I've instructed the Secretary of Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. Do you agree with this? I don't really have a dog in this fight. Look, I used to collect pennies when I was like a little kid, but I don't carry any change around with me. I don't think anybody my age carries change. We hardly carry cash around with us. And in fact, when I get a tip, like for instance, we go out to the airport, and the little we use one of those remote parking locations. They have little QR codes to tip the guys that help you with the bags. They're not even really accepting cash anymore.
Okay,
it seems like we're becoming a cashless. You can't even go to the Rockies, for instance, and use cash anymore.
No,
they don't
you
accept
can't.
I got
to hijack this just for a second.
Yeah.
Just on a personal. Let me get on my my high horse here for a second, and we got to talk about this. This is important to me. We need to stop giving us the little tippy tip screen
on everything,
for stuff that you do regularly. No, I'm not tipping you if I'm at a sandwich shop and you're making me my sandwich. No, I'm not going to give you a tip for doing the thing you're supposed to do normally. That's not okay. I will tip you like if it's valet and stuff, and the valet service is good and it's quick and some other things. And I'm at the restaurant. I tip very well. My wife and I often have disagreements about how much I tip when we're at the restaurants. But if you're doing the thingy that you're supposed to do based on the outline of your job, stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah, my favorite is when you're like in a convenience store.
Yes. No. Yeah.
Like I walked and grabbed the soda.
Yeah.
I scanned the soda. What are you doing?
If you're going to go out and either check my tire pressure or wash my windows outside, then we can talk tip.
Yes.
But until then, if you're still behind that
Billy
little
tips
cage,
the Venezuelan squeegee washers.
No, because I didn't ask them to do that. No. Now, if I'm employing you, we can do that. But the idea is you're locked in your little safety cage in the convenience store. I'm not tipping you for nothing. You're not even coming out of the cage. You're not. Yeah, sorry. That's an annoyance for me.
Let's go to the phone lines because we got people calling in on this. Rick, Denver, good morning. You're on the Jeff and Bill show.
Well, people still depend on the penny. Furthermore, the statues on there. Is Trump loyal to farm country? I mean, the penny's got the big statue in D.C. on there, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you mean?
The statue
it's on there. There are a lot of them. It's a picture
care.
of the statue in Washington, D.C. on the penny.
And there's Lincoln.
Well, there's
Memorial and some
Lincoln.
other
Lincoln
stuff,
on
but
the front, and then
Yeah,
on the back.
they have the front, and then a lot of them have the Cecil penny, have that monument they built in the 60s, the big one, the statue in D.C.
Yeah,
on it.
But more of that. Let's talk, Rick, about the idea of, do you think the penny is functional anymore? Do you think it serves a role in society? Do you think that the penny is still needed?
That's too deep and philosophical to go into.
No, what do you think, man? Personally.
Hey, he's talking about messing up the cash economy, really, apparently, but he's not loyal to farm country at all.
Yeah,
Wait, help me understand how
I'm not going to
this
talk about it anymore.
How does this affect farm country?
He hung up on us.
Rick waited a long time.
I know, to do that. And I'm just curious. I just want to know.
What does he mean by how it affects farm country? How's a penny?
No idea. Well, I'm assuming that it's
and
the
what's
whole
on
thing.
What's on the back is the Lincoln.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. I'm thinking farm country. It's what we talked about earlier. It's all the kids that would go to the railroad tracks and put the penny down. I'm thinking that's probably not it. What do you do across? What do you do at Casa Medina? Because you've got the thing where you squeeze the roll thing and squeeze the penny. Yeah, you roll the penny. What are you going to do now? You're not going to do that with a nickel and not a dime. That's not going to work the same. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. Text messages coming in. I agree with Shumei. The Super Bowl seemed more family oriented. I wasn't so pleased with the music, but I'll take that over what I've seen before. Seems like there's got to be better talent out there. 1712. I just don't think anybody over the age of 40 even has an idea who Kendrick Lamar is, unless you're Bill Thorpe, and that becomes you're a music savant. Let's see what we got. Joe Arvada. Good morning, Joe. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Hey, Jeff, Bill, first time caller. Hey, listen, about the penny. I'm a prospector. I go for all kinds of stuff. But anyways, the Abraham Lincoln is on the penny. Where is he going to go?
He's on the $5 bill too, right? So we'll still have a little bit of Lincoln. But do you use a penny in your day-to-day commerce there, Joe?
I've been saving pennies ever since I was 8 years old. I got so many pennies that you could go around the world a couple times.
Well, you may want to hold on to those. Those may be worth more than a penny.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think. If the penny goes away, and you're saying it costs 2 cents to make the penny, that penny is going to be worth a lot more money.
I think so
2
too.
cents.
I think you're right.
And we've got a couple of people saying that it can cost up to 8-9 cents depending on how they press and things like that. And I think you're right. And you know what this means, Joe. And I appreciate the phone call today. Is that if they outlaw the penny, only outlaws are going to have pennies. So you and I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you, my friend. But I think you're right.
I don't know what you can. I mean, if they're not going to print them, they're still going to accept them. Right. So you can still pay with a penny. I love those folks, by the way, who get a parking fine and show up with a wheelbarrow full of pennies.
I love that because they have to carry.
Jeff and Bill, I got pennies that are uncirculated back in the 1920s.
Wow.
And I have also Indian head pennies.
Those are amazing. My dad had a couple of those.
And I'm a prospector. I get gold, I get watches, I get rings, I get this, I get that. But to get rid of the penny, I don't think that's a good idea, but whatever.
This is what I like, Joe. I like the idea of us not having to do that stupid thing in the store of $4.99, $5.99. They're just fooling us.
Right.
If it eliminates that $0.99 thing and all the prices, I'm all for getting rid of the penny. That's just a personal thing.
Are we just taking another step towards a cashless society? Are we just everything's going to be cards and phones eventually, and they'll eventually just scan your eyeball?
That's what it's going to. I don't like it. I'm 80 years old, and I don't go for all this new stuff out there. I even hate cell phones and computers and everything else. I don't even bother with that. I go metal detecting.
Now, Joe, with all that you have accumulated, is that going to be willed on to a family member? Do you have a particular family member that likes the same stuff that you do, all this collecting?
Yeah, I have all that stuff in a trust. Yeah.
I always found folks like you fascinating. Joe, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it. First time caller, Joe from Arvada. Appreciate you giving us a call. So the penny's going the way of the dodo, apparently. And is this step one? Is it going to be the nickel next and then the quarter? Does anybody actually use change?
So you're saying they're going to nickel and dime us to death? Okay, I couldn't help that. That was stupid. That was really dumb, but I couldn't help myself.
All right, who are we taking next here, Bill?
Oh, let's go to Lynn. Yeah.
Lynn, Evergreen. Good morning, Lynn. You're on the
Morning,
Jeff and
Lynn.
Bill Show.
Oh, good morning, Jeff and Billy. Okay, so Jeff, I'm going to tell you this. Restaurant workers only make $12 an hour. I mean, that's poverty wage.
Yeah.
So even with sandwiches and things like that, I mean, throw in a couple $1 tip, a 10% tip. That's what I'm going to say about that, because it costs most people, maybe minimum wage, or not minimum wage, medium wage. Inflation, $20 an hour is minimum, and they only start at $12 an hour.
That's a problem. And what do you think about the penny? Do you think that's going to help or hurt the economy? Do you think there are any advantages? I mean, do you think we're going to all start hoarding pennies? Right now, there are businesses that can't get enough pennies. There's calls out there because we just leave them in our pockets, or worse, even just throw them away. For me, right now, the pennies are the bane of the washing machine because they get underneath the agitator and they stop the thing from moving. So then I got to pull the agitator off and I get these pennies out of the bottom of the washing machine because my kids just leave the pennies in their pocket. Now, what's your opinion on it, Lynn? Do you think that we need to end using the penny? Do you think it's a negative thing for our society? Or do we think you should just hoard them and save them and get rich later? What do you think?
Okay, so with pennies, yes, it costs 3.5 cents to produce the penny, in our circulation, 3.5 cents. But it's a precious metal. That's copper. That is copper. Even the nickel is like nickel coated copper. Copper is a precious metal.
Yeah, no, Lynn, I appreciate it. I think it'll shake things up. And like I said, I don't have a big dog in this fight, other than it's kind of sad to see the pennies go away. Lynn,
well,
thanks so much.
I hope they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
Because at least if you save a nickel or a dime, it's worth the weight of the value of the coin. And pennies are okay. Penny is like 1 cent. I mean, who's going to save pennies? Well, I'm like Joe. I've got a box of 1980 pennies, that are still rolled in the bankroll, because I know that they're worth 3.5 cents.
Yeah,
I can turn them in, recirculate them, and for every penny I put in, I get 3.5 cents back.
Go collect those pennies. Lynn, Evergreen, sure appreciated the call. Thanks so much. We'll continue. We've got nearly full lines. If you want to jump in, quickly dial 303-696-1971. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Wyo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
President Donald Trump stripping the security clearances from Attorney General Letitia James and Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who are part of the new group of 8 Democrats that Trump is revoking access to classified information and banning their entry into federal buildings. The move is part of the president's vow to hold government officials accountable for election interference or the mishandling of classified information, including the so-called Dirty 51 that falsely claimed Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. It also comes just days after revoking Joe Biden's access to classified information and secure federal buildings. Trump said ex-Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who orchestrated the letter from 51 former intelligence officials on the eve of the 2020 election, will be next to lose clearance. A coalition of Republican state attorneys general wrote a letter to Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, and John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, detailing their plan to investigate Anthony Fauci. They are looking to investigate Fauci on charges related to his handling of COVID-19 on a state level, effectively bypassing the last-minute federal pardon issued by Joe Biden. This move comes after allegations that Fauci misled the public on the origins of the virus and the effectiveness of certain health measures like social distancing and masks.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Wyo, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Jared Bullis. DJT for getting rid of the penny. Bullis been calling for this for years, saying not only is it going to save us money and help the environment as well. And I don't really know. I don't carry even cash around with me that much anymore. I'm a millennial. Everything seems to be on a card or at least heading towards my phone to use to purchase things. And then who knows, they'll be scanning my eyeball before I know.
Personally, the Neuralink with Elon, so that happens.
You'll just think about it. And
Yeah,
pay.
that's not good. Oh God, I bought how many of those? Yeah, the thing for me is I feel weird if I don't have at least a little bit of cash in my pocket.
Yeah.
It feels odd to me. And that doesn't mean a lot. There are times that I'll walk around with like $3. That's it. But if I don't have at least a little bit of cash, it just personally, it feels like I have no money because of how I grew up. We weren't, paperless, etc. And I was too young to afford a credit card at the time. So there always was cash. And so I kind of have this really weird hardwired belief that even if it is only $1, having cash is that important. And it's dumb. It's completely irrational. But again, have you met me? That's kind of what I do sometimes.
Jason in Denver texting, we should have a virtual tip jar. Hey, tip the.
Yeah.
I think you can do that on some of the platforms that are out there. Because I remember who was Trump's former attorney? Michael Cohen.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Cohen was trying to do a live stream, but you could pay
to put hats on them.
Funny, goofy little hats on them.
Yep.
Man, I'm willing to pay it or willing to receive money. You can put goofy little hats and mustaches, monocles on me.
Dude, I will show up for money. I will show up at your house and wear the hat. For the right amount of money, you can pick the costume. I'm just saying.
Let's go to the phone lines. Jay Centennial. Good morning, Jay. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Monday to you.
Same to you.
And I'm a firm. I think it's a good move, and I have my reasons to share why. The penny's gonna just being obsolete, and even if you stopped it today, boom, it's going to be a decade before they eventually all just get out of here. But the only reason a penny is very relevant is because of our tax code, and instead of a 8% tax, we have an 8.1 tax. So I'm kind of a dinosaur. I still pay cash here and there. I'm like Bill. I keep money. I keep like $40 in my wallet just in case. And I've had a problem where the gas pump doesn't accept the card, and you're like, wow, I have to put something in. So I always keep some cash with me. But the main reason is everything. If you notice, if you pay for cash, it'll either end in a 1 or it'll end in a 6. So like, okay, you pay for something that's $8 and some cents. It's $8.81 after tax or $9.56 after tax. And if you don't have that 1 penny on you, you're going to get a chunk of silver and 4 pennies back. And that's annoying. I think once the pennies are gone, and if they do the tax code properly without a 0.1 in there, it'll be a good transition.
We used to have a half penny.
Yeah.
From 1793 to 1857, half penny, and it was the Coinage Act of 1857 that continued it.
And then, quick question: the previous caller mentioned that the pennies are copper. I don't know if that's true. I think they're just copper plated, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, they are just copper plated now. Yeah, back in the day they were all copper, but they just plate them right now. Yeah, and that's part of the expenses on the money inside. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that if it can make it easier as far as transactions and the tax code, I'm all for taking away that percentage. And I think it also, having that 1 cent allows people, like you're talking about, to play with the interest rate, to play with taxes, and to play with how much we are paying for an item, because we all know the game. $4.99 is really $5, but we see the 4 and we think we're paying less.
Yeah, it's the 0.1 that keeps the penny relevant.
Yeah.
So, thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, man. Have a great day.
Great call. Thank you so much, Jay from Centennial. Let's go to Michael Inglewood. Good morning, Michael. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Good morning, Jeff and Bill. So I have a very inconsequential discussion with you. So what frustrates me a lot these days is when I go to a restaurant, many of them put a tip on there for me of some sort, and they call it a service fee or something like that.
Yeah.
So I typically think about what I would have tipped them, reduce it by that amount, and tell them to tell their managers that I don't appreciate them forcing a tip on me, so this is what I'm going to do. What is your recommendation and suggestions?
Ooh, that's a tough one. See, I'm okay if it's a large party. And strangely enough, I got 4 kids in the family. So sometimes we show up and we're 6 already, and maybe a couple extra adults, grandma, grandpa, stuff like that. We become an 8 top. Then I can see the forced gratuity because of the larger party. But yeah, I dislike the idea of them saying, here, we're going to roll it in already. I do appreciate them doing the math for you, however, saying, like at the leaving the tip spot open and saying, here's 15%, here's 20, here's 25, here's 30.
But I think
so you can do the
he's
the math
talking
easier.
about some of those like
Oh,
back
yeah.
of the house fees
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
absolutely.
assess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like you didn't
Absolutely.
even. It's not even in the tip. It's just an additional tax and fee they added on.
Yeah, I don't like those.
Exactly.
Yeah. I disagree with those because, you're not going to charge me shipping and handling or service fees since I'm already showing up at the restaurant. I don't agree with you taxing me. And I do agree that I think it's a tax on something that I'm not allowed to choose to do. The tip has always been at the purview, within some exceptions, like the larger groups, of the customer. And when you're forcing the customer into a tip structure, I completely and totally disagree with that. What I would do personally is I would back out that tip structure and say, no, take this off, take this off, take this off. And then I would roll in part of that into the tip. I would make them have to back that money out on the other end. I'm not certain that I would short other individuals, but the other part that makes me mad is, like the service charge and things for the back end of the house. You used to, when you were waiting tables, and I don't know how many people in the conversation here have waited tables, you would tip out the back of the house. There would be a percentage of the money that you made on your tips. Like if you had a bartender, you'd tip the bartender. You would give them a percentage. Sometimes it's 10, 15, 20%, depending on how much you depended on them. You'd go back and you tip the back end of the house, depending on how much, if it was a difficult party and you had to have a bus boy come over and help you out sometimes, or there was a special order inside the kitchen, then you go tip out the kitchen. That's kind of what you did in order to make sure everybody was happy. And you say, hey, thanks for making my job easier because of the extra work you put in. But forcing you as the customer to do that, no. That's the server's job. I disagree with forcing the customer into it.
All right. I'm in agreement with that.
Awesome. Michael,
thanks, man.
appreciate
Thanks,
the call.
Michael. Yeah,
Thanks
call
so
us again
much.
sometime.
Michael's line is open, 303-696-1971. That's 303-696-1971. Bill, did you hear about this shooting that took place at Main Event in Douglas County over the weekend?
No, what?
Dude, this was wild. I was actually talking
tell me.
with Douglas County over it. Here's the latest update from Douglas County Sheriff. There was an active shooter event that took place real early in the morning on Sunday at Main Event. The female suspect accused of shooting inside the business was identified as a 23-year-old woman from Denver. She was arrested on suspicion of criminal attempt, first-degree murder, and first-degree assault. They are referring the case to the 23rd Judicial District. Basically, shooting took place real early in the morning, like after midnight. They close at 2 a.m. Female shot another female in the abdomen. Now, the woman shot will live, okay? But as police responded, and they got there in less than a minute, they came upon another guy in the parking lot with a gun.
Oh.
And so law enforcement addressed him, told him to drop the weapon. He pointed the weapon at law enforcement. Law enforcement fired upon him, killed a guy out in the parking lot. So you had the shooting that took place inside Main Event. You had a shooting that took place outside because the guy was not willing to drop his weapon, pointed at law enforcement. Apparently, that's what happened. The deputy confronted the gunman in the parking lot. He is now on paid administrative leave. So if you have any tips, give them a call, 303-660-7500. But that's, my kids and I have been to that Main Event a ton of times.
Yeah.
It's right there in Highlands Ranch. Like a million birthday parties there.
That's a little spooky. But then again, do it at 9:44 on a Monday, really? Okay. I'm gonna have to do this. Again, I've come to the opinion and conclusion a couple of years ago. This is the cover charge. To be an American, to be partaking in our society, this is the cover charge. That every so often, someone's going to walk into a space where your family could be and have a firearm and do nasty things.
I think you got to conceal carry pretty much everywhere.
This is going to happen.
days.
But here's the idea: is how do we know that the gentleman that was in the and again, I'm using gentleman loosely, in the parking lot wasn't concealed carry, and just something else went wrong? Maybe he was too inebriated at the time, didn't understand, or didn't think that he didn't think. We don't know the situation surrounding that. But again, even the concealed carry, I'm not sold on the idea that that necessarily equals safer. Because if we did have this shooting at the main event, I'm not sold on the fact that crossfire is going to make the situation better. Yeah, that's the part that I have a hard time with. But, we're the tail end of the show. So that's the time that we start these things.
That's what we really like to kick it off.
When we
All
really
right.
get the good topics.
So be safe out there.
Yeah,
But
be safe.
latest updates, they got the woman that did the initial shooting in charge, and now they're doing full investigation into everything else that happened. But main event, man. Gosh.
I'm really curious about why the guy in the parking lot that doesn't seem to be involved, why he wouldn't drop the gun. But there are 100 different reasons. It could be, I'm concealed carry. I shouldn't have to. I should be able to prove this to you. I should this, that. Could be 1,000 different reasons. And it could be illegal weapon, shouldn't have been there, was doing something else. Who knows? Yeah. But then again, this is what we've decided in America.
We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. The USAID has been in the spotlight recently as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, has been auditing the organization to figure out what American taxpayer dollars are being spent on and how his department can cut the waste, fraud, and overspending from the budget. Some of the payments he found are more than questionable, such as That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Owayo, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. So, Bill, over the weekend, we had previewed this. There was a rally hosted by our friends with the Concealed Carry Association. Leland being one of those guys. They had a great rally in Lakewood, went down there. Ross Kaminsky was there, Greg Brophy, myself,
Nice.
all talking to folks about the importance of protecting our Second Amendment rights. And we got word during the actual rally, because our friends from RMGO were there as well, that the Senate bill that would ban pretty much anything that's a semi-automatic weapon. So your most Glocks, most handguns are semi-automatic weapons because they have a detachable magazine. They want to go after, you could drop down the magazine, and there's tons of safety issues concerned about that if you have to clear a jam too. But this Colorado Sun reporting that the bill has been delayed. It continues to get delayed amid negotiations with Jared Polis.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to sign that bill and then try to run for president.
No, he does not.
That
He
was
does not want to sign
rural
that at all.
Pennsylvania out there.
And he doesn't want to veto something from the Democrats either. So he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And what I believe is that this is just, again, my own personal belief, that Polis is like, I am not going to give you what you want in this instance. There are times in which that we could have done this, but this bill with this language is a no. And if you continue to push it, that's fine, but you're wasting your time. That's my guess is what the conversation is. And we talked about this. We talked about it with Leland when he was here. The idea that, and Ian Escalante, we talked about Ian Escalante when he was sitting here in the studio, that they've drawn these parameters much too wide. If they would narrow target, they may get some traction, but drawing it and saying everything that has a drop mag is stupid. But, you reap what you sow. Nice job, Democrats.
To
This
you
one's gonna fail.
Second Amendment activists out there, you're making a difference. Keep the pressure on. Defend our
please do.
God-given Second Amendment rights down there. Things could change. They could still run it through, but we'll continue to monitor all of this. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is KNUS. Enjoy your Monday.